Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's for
Me.
Riley.
Whoa! Was that because it's the finale of Vanderpump Rules?
Yeah, we got a little extra energy.
Wow, me too.
I have a Diet Coke. You have a Red Bull.
Look at this. If you're watching YouTube, look at what Amy and I are drinking to get ready for this episode.
Not sponsored.
No. No.
Wait, also, I saw Loverboy, not Spawn, but they posted that it's available at Dodger Stadium.
What?
I can't wait to hit a game this season.
Who told you that?
Loverboy Instagram.
The Loverboy Instagram said, hey, if you go to a Dodger game, you can purchase one of our drinks.
I think it was a tall boy, like lemonade, like iced tea lemonade or whatever.
That is, Loverboy is doing so good in terms of getting into places, do you think?
More and more.
Did you also hear, this is not Spawn, but did you hear that if Dodgers win, Panda Express is offering $5 bowls for anything you want? Sorry, let me say this right. If the Dodgers win each game you win, they will let you go to Panda Express and type in Dodgers win, and you get $5 worth of Panda Express.
That's exciting. I think, what is it usually? Like a Jack in the Box, taco, or like there have been...
Yeah, there's so many Dodger promos, but this one officially now is... I don't want to get too like bogged down in the Panda Express stuff, but I already got my first $10 meal. Yeah, my friend Brock, just to shout him out, not the Brock that everyone knows from the Vanderpump Rules universe. He goes, guys, race over to Panda Express now. If you type in Dodgers win, the code on the app, you get almost $11 worth of food for $5.
Hell yeah.
So you said Loverboys at Dodger Stadium. I said Panda Express is having a deal. Anything else to cover news-wise?
I wish they still had that impossible orange chicken. That's what I do wish.
Oh, what happened?
They took it away the way Del Taco took away their Beyond menu. McDonald's didn't even try doing a vegetarian burger. I just give it a chance.
So what do you think? I mean, do you think McDonald's was sort of waiting in the wings to see if Impossible and Beyond struck a chord at all the other franchises, and then when it didn't, they never had to succumb?
They tested it, and I never even got to try it because it was only at a faraway location, but they just never brought it to market.
But then all the other ones, like you said, Taco Bell and what'd you say the other one was? Del. They gave up on it.
Yeah, Burger King has held strong with the Impossible Whopper, which is quite good.
Okay, all right, good. Well, that's good.
That's a fast food minute.
Good. Wait, there was so much more I had to say. I mean, I wanted to talk about Vanderpump Rules ultimately.
We're almost free of this season.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess let's talk about a little news. I mean, I don't know how much we want to get into. The one thing that was sort of like breaking news right before you got here, the biggest thing in the world that I saw, page 6, huge alert that came up, is that Lala Kent, on the heels of this finale, I mean, as of today, this came out. What day is it? Wednesday.
Yeah.
Lala Kent's in early talks, whatever the hell early talks are, to join the Valley for season 2.
Okay.
So how does that, I just hit you with that.
Yeah.
You barely have had time to process it. What are your initial feelings about that?
I think it makes sense. She's like hashtag mom life, you know, like I think that's like the direction she wants to head in. I actually could see it working. I feel like it would maybe take some of how is she with Kristen? Are they friends?
They're good. They're fine. Yeah. They're good. I think they're good. I think Kristen and Lala like each other. They're in aren't they? They're not in the confessionals together in the after show, but even if they're not, I think that they're good. They're friends.
Right. Oh wait, are they?
Wait, Kristen. Oh no, they're not.
Lala and Brittany.
They're not.
Kristen and who?
Kristen and Lala like unfollowed each other for something, and Kristen didn't know what the heck, like what happened.
Oh.
They kind of had a little rift. I'm sure it's easy to repair, but as of now, I don't think they're doing the best. If I
it's
guessing.
Sheena and Kristen in the confessional.
Okay.
Well, I was just gonna say it would take some heat off of Kristen of being like, I think Lala can be a little bit of a ringleader to the other Valley women. I could see that working a bit. I don't know. I feel like the more enmeshed that the Valley can be with Vanderpump, is fine by me.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. I mean, it's definitely, I get it. But I also, I don't really understand what the Valley really is.
Yeah.
Because what the hell is it? It was a show created because Jax and Brittany and Kristen can't be on Vanderpump Rules anymore. So it's a spinoff of their friends.
Yeah.
And then now more and more people are defecting from Vanderpump Rules to the Valley. So eventually, if this continues, the Valley will just have the entire cast of Vanderpump Rules on it, and then what does Lisa get fucked over because she's not an executive producer on the Valley?
Empty boat.
It's called Lisa, or it's still called Vanderpump Rules, but it's Lisa and one other cast member that Sheena would just stay on. I just don't get why there's you want two shows in the universe where one can pull talent from them and then leave the other one forsaken,
Forsaken. It's like when Lisa opened Pump next to Sir.
Yes,
and then...
that's the perfect analogy. It's exactly what it was. You're pulling from the market share.
Cannibalizing.
You're cannibalizing. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God, exactly. You have the exact words that I want to use. You're cannibalizing your own market. What will happen to Vanderpump Rules? And then the Valley becomes Vanderpump Rules, and everybody gets pissed about that. And I just do not understand. My way to solve this. Valley was great. It was like Jax and Brittany watch party, where you sent the test balloon up and you said, Jesse and Michelle, or Jesse. Jesse has charisma. He's great.
Yeah.
Janet has charisma. She's great. We love Jax, Brittany, and Kristen. They're fueling the show. Yeah. Everything, all of the drama is related to the three people, which, as you should know, it's to be expected. Put them all back on Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
What you could have this era that they're all going through on the Valley. The Valley has proven that we care about these cast members at a later stage in their life. Everyone said, we don't want to see diapers on Vanderpump Rules. We don't want to see baby bottles on Vanderpump Rules. It's not true. People love the Valley. It's doing really good, except the only problem with it is that those cast members were taken from Vanderpump Rules. Now they're doing great. They're creating their own universe that other people want to go to because obviously, why wouldn't you? Those are three great cast members. So, in my opinion, to fix all of your problems, just consolidate the shows. Mm-hmm. Bring all the best talent. I mean, and maybe it's the Valley. Maybe Vanderpump Rules ends and all of the best talent who want to continue on in their reality television career go on the Valley.
Yeah.
And then you don't have Lisa involved. Maybe that's it. But just having these two shows at the same time doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean... I don't know if we wait until we talk about the finale itself, but it does. I mean, everyone online was saying it's undeniably was framed almost like a series finale.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I mean, if there's no news, I mean, I really don't think we need to waste time. And I'm sure our little turtle cuties are, was it champing at the bit? Champing at the bit to hear the commentary, right? So is there any other news?
Not really.
We covered a lot. Panda Express.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like anything that comes up can come up naturally, maybe.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think so too. Let me get my phone. I got my phone.
Great.
So let's talk fully unfiltered, unabashedly. What are other words? Just everything we want to say about overall your feelings. Because before we get in the weeds of some of the weird shit that we witnessed, let's just talk generally about what this meant for the future of Vanderpump Rules. And I want to know how you felt, because just to start this conversation, the energy that we all have for this finale, I feel like collectively in the Bravo Standum universe was the lowest, most bummer energy. I was thinking of last year when we were getting ready for the Scandival episode, the fervor and stuff. And this kind of just came and went with a full-blown whimper, in my opinion.
Yeah. This was, episode 15?
Yeah. So, episode 15, which is unheard of, like we
Yeah.
said last week. That doesn't happen.
It was like 7 episodes shorter than usual or something like that.
7 episodes shorter, and then I think we said that 16 is usually the mark of like that you don't have much, and it's like that's a shorter season of 16. So 15 is unheard of. No one was expecting it. I am sure there are Little Turtle Cuties or Bravo watchers who watched this episode who are not so tapped in, and they saw season finale, and they were probably shocked.
Yeah.
That we were already at the finale of Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all very weird. Like, I know that like the fourth wall gets straight up broken in this episode. Like, you know, it was leading to that, but the way that I feel the audience has turned on the production.
Yeah.
Like, people are mad at the show itself,
Right.
which I don't think has ever happened before.
I think that the reason they are is because you get a little sneak peek at Jeremiah, you know, sitting there with the in-ear earbud, and when Ariana walks over to him, not to step on it, but I have to talk about this. And he's like, "Ariana, please, no, for the love of God, go back. This is the end. Oh God, fuck. Vanderpump Rules is fucked. If you don't have this conversation, fuck. Oh, shit. Where'd she go? She's going to Applebee's." It's like, I don't want to see that. That's a classic. I don't want to see.
I don't need to see that.
That's a classic comeback with Valerie Cherish. I don't need to see that. And I love the fourth wall break, but I don't want to see what these producers are doing behind the
Not
scenes.
my problem.
What do you mean? Yeah, totally not my problem. Like when I heard on The Valley, when Kristen walked away from Jesse at the table at the beautiful Mondrian dinner, and she goes, "That guy's a psycho, and I don't want to work with him." And I heard the producer going, "Calm down, Kristen, calm down. He's not that bad." I was like, "That's how you talk to the cast?" I don't like to see that unique relationship they have with the cast, because it feels, I don't know if it's called pressuring, but I just don't want to know how the sausage gets made in terms of how you make scenes happen. Mm-hmm. And so seeing that, and then also seeing how they kind of made this as if it could be a series finale. But then the other interpretation of it is that they were showing how beautiful Vanderpump Rules used to be, or could be, if everyone was being their true, authentic self like Lala wants it to be. Can't Lala just get the glory days where she was so authentic? And they sort of had this nostalgic, beautiful look at like what the show would be if everyone had the best confrontational scenes. And it was sort of like a fuck you to Ariana.
She
and
was
I think,
left out of that montage.
yeah, and I think it's like, do you see what we're dealing with here? Jeremiah's like, look it. No wonder season 11 sucked. It's all Ariana's fault. You know what I mean? And that's why I think people are turning on production a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they are pissed that they're trying to do a Sandoval redemption arc, which, I mean, they're at least giving him a lot of airtime to try and make his case. And Sheena and Lala are the abettors of that plan.
Yes, they are. Yeah, so I get, I have to say this, okay, because for 12 hours from the end of Vanderpump Rules last night when I watched it at 6 p.m., or, you know, it ended at 6 p.m. Pacific time, I thought we had just watched the series finale of Vanderpump Rules. I thought they snuck the series finale on us. I thought that pause rumor, how they were going to wait for a month or 3 months or whatever, was just to get ahead of the news, to where if agents and managers didn't start seeing that contracts were gearing up, like they're like, where's Sheena's contract? Like, why are the mechanisms of production not going forward right now? That they would have this pause answer from TMZ that wouldn't alert anybody that Vanderpump Rules is done. So I thought that was a full smokescreen for the truth, and that they wedged in a series finale. I mean, obviously that could be potentially, if it did not get picked up, or if Vanderpump Rules was over, that could act as a series finale, right? Yeah. So I just want to ask you, what did you feel like when you thought potentially you would just watch the series finale? Did you even think it?
I don't think that, because I don't think Bravo would ever willingly give up something that gets as many viewers as it does. Like, compared to any of the dwindling Housewives franchises that they keep on. Like, this gets way more viewership, so why would they just throw it away even if they knew it was going to suck?
I got the sense that it was like broken beyond repair.
It is.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they will cancel it.
Okay, so
because they'll still get way more viewers to a shitty Vanderpump Rules season than almost any other show.
Yeah, so you didn't have what I had. You weren't.
No, I mean, I was like, whoa, like I was like, it was crazy the way that it looked and like the framing of it and like the heartfelt montage and everything. Like it felt like they could use that as that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they will.
Okay, so for me, I thought if it was the series finale, because it was broken beyond repair, I was like, okay, like you're telling the audience that this show cannot exist anymore given the turmoil within the cast and the conditions or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't the series finale and it's a normal finale and they never expected it to be the series finale, then like what the hell was that?
Right. It was
what the hell?
Crazy.
What the hell? Because Jeremiah's going, that's the end. Goodbye. Kiss Vanderpump Rules goodbye. That's the end. And then you show a montage with bittersweet, nostalgic music going, like a balloon. Highs and the lows of a balloon. And then you show them all crying. It's like, what is the audience going to think?
It should end with like, you haven't watched 6 Feet Under, but
Oh, I haven't.
do you know what the end is?
No, but I know it's one of the greatest
Okay.
finales in history. But I haven't seen it.
I won't spoil it.
Does
even.
it end with a person dying and then a balloon raises up into the air and it sings a song?
If my memory serves me correctly, like something happens, it shows a bunch of things, and then I think the last thing you hear is someone gasping for breath.
Really?
Like, like dying.
That's
and
sort
I'm
of
like, that's how Vanderpump Rules should end.
who would do it, Jeremiah? No offense, I
Alice
don't.
Baskin, Lisa.
Lisa, but these people we don't ask that. We want it to be actory gasp. It should be not a death rattle. It should just be a gasp like I can't believe I got the news. Vanderpump Rules should end with Lisa getting the news in page 6 that Vanderpump Rules was canceled.
Yeah.
Do you think? I was just gonna say, did 6 Feet Under end with them all leaving that funeral scene, which I know they did, and then what's his name? Who's Dexter? Michael C. Hall.
Yeah.
He goes, "Do you guys want to go to Applebee's?"
I wish. I mean, I have to say, I'm like, that kind of was a huge fuck you to be like, I'm leaving this huge finale party that we went to San Francisco for with Brad, an unnamed woman, and my new boyfriend to go to a fucking chain restaurant. I'd rather do that.
I mean, yes. But also, it is kind of okay, I don't want to get too much. I don't want to go full-blown stand-em yet. But I will say I think I'm in the majority opinion on this.
Yeah.
I really do think I am. And a part of me likes that this could have ended with Brad and Ariana and Dan walking to their Uber XL to go get Applebee's and singing the Applebee's theme song while the cast is left in absolute fucking shambles because the one cast member they relied on for all of their power left them in the fucking dust.
Yeah.
Like that has some power.
Yeah.
Really, that has some power. And my whole grudge against this, and I'm going to say it now before I forget, my whole fucking grudge against this whole season is, why the hell were you all, as cast members, sputtering in circles, begging for Ariana to do the one conversation that you know she was never, ever going to have, and you banked the entire season 11 on this one moment that you knew you could probably never have, and no one else did a fucking thing to make anything else enjoyable this entire season, to where the whole linchpin of the finale was built around that conversation that
Right.
you didn't get. That's
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I think the entire season was broken. And so they got to the end and they were like, this is literally all we have. And then they just freaked the fuck out when they saw they weren't going to get it. But
So why did no one else on this cast of 7 people have anything else to do that was at all of merit for the end of season 11?
I think the fatal flaw, which we've talked about, is they shouldn't have filmed right away.
Right.
They shouldn't have filmed the reunion last season right away. It was all too fucking fast.
Yeah.
They had nothing else going on. So it was all just the same shit over and over again. They just, like, nothing had happened yet.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a minute for anything to move forward except for them to be like reeling from Scandival still. And it just resulted in everyone, you know, either Sandoval coming up in conversation over and over again, asking Ariana if she'll ever forgive him again and again and again. And it was dull.
Yeah. I have that, but I also have a more cynical theory. So I agree with that. The cloud of Scandival was too much to where no one thought they could do anything that didn't involve it because they were just in the thick of Scandival brain. But I don't think that should have stopped them. I don't think that's a full excuse for what this season was. I just kept thinking when they're doing this montage, this series nostalgic look at the past, the fact that, and I know this is like such a hypothetical, but the fact that we lost a long time ago, Jax and Brittany and Kristen and Stassi, imagining that they were still on Vanderpump Rules and what they would have been doing this season, in addition to Scandival, the absolute chaos that they would be wreaking upon the universe at the same time, we would never be left with just one final conversation that you had to have between Ariana and Tom for the entire season 11 to be a good season or the biggest dud in history. So to me, it really shows the weakness of all of the other cast members. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well, it calls into question the entire workflow. So how does that work? Like, do the producers, they get together with the cast at the beginning and they say, what's going on this year? What are we going to focus on? Do you have a concert coming up? You have a restaurant opening, whatever. So did they just decide together that they didn't need those things? There was the weak ass something about her storyline. There was like
Tori's
story.
That
sucked ass.
There was Joe, which, you know, had a little fire in
there.
it. Yeah. There was a Lala's sperm party.
Boring.
Yeah. There was, which we got the Katie and Joe. Like, there were storyline. There was Hippie. So the storyline, there were storylines there. There were attempts at storylines there. But if you all, I don't know baseball, but we talked about the Dodgers. If you all go up to bat and you all strike out, and you only have Ariana at bat, you all lost first.
You were screaming.
I'm sorry.
Okay, but like, this is what is interesting because, so it's kind of like a fail on all counts. So it's like, including Ariana, because
wait, no, I'm not ready to go there yet. First, before we get into what everyone says about Ariana, but because we do know that, and we've talked about that, everyone else on this cast had to fail to get to the point where we got to. Uh-huh. Do you know what I mean? Like, am I out on a limb here to say that there could have possibly been more good stuff that could have come out of this season that didn't rely on Ariana?
Yeah, but I think it was almost impossible all around because of the circumstances. Like, everyone was afraid to cross Ariana to do anything with Sandoval. So that was stilted.
Okay.
Like, everyone's like loyalties were confused because they were like, I kind of just like want to do the show, but I don't want to be perceived as evil. Uh-huh. And it took Sheena a while to get to the point where she prioritized the show over Ariana, which she eventually did, and Lala too. But and even like Katie, like, she stood by Ariana's side, but she didn't really do shit herself, which isn't a surprise. I don't know. I almost don't blame them individually because it was a very weird situation.
So the fact that Sandoval couldn't properly be amongst the cast because of this boundary that Ariana had is why they all floundered as cast members?
It just, like, the dynamic is broken. Like, it's become unnatural in a way that is, like, irredeemable.
Okay.
It's beyond.
Okay, so it's because one cast member did something so egregious that most of the people thought he was villainous, and that one of the other cast members who's also very powerful, one of the top 4 cast members that make plot move, can't have scenes with Sandoval. It just left them in a compromised spot that they couldn't get out of.
I mean, even I don't know how you ultimately felt about how last season was without Sandoval ultimately being the end.
It wasn't great.
Right.
We talked
So
about
like
it.
we were already in a bad place, and then you add this burden on top of it, and it's worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess, my overall, I just to end my theory or whatever, which maybe is not even true, and maybe people can disagree or whatever, but I just think that Lala and Sheena and everyone going to Ariana for her approval or whatever they were doing to get Ariana to do something that she just did not actively want to do. It's like, just do something else on your own. Like, why? I don't know why you need so much from Ariana to do anything you want in the world. That doesn't, maybe, I don't know. I guess I don't really, I don't really understand fully, but I think to me, it just shows that yes, it's broken, but also that this cast as it stands now wasn't equipped to handle a situation like this. And I know that previous cast members could have done a lot better job.
Yeah. It was dull.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry I screamed. We're going to check the levels on that. I was making a baseball analogy and I screamed very loud for the first time. Well, okay. So with knowing that was not the series finale, because the series finale part of it gave me the series finale part of it is what made it actually like better to me. I was like, whoa, that actually makes that powerful. But if it's not the series finale and it's just kind of a weird finale, is it ultimately like a really shitty finale?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was, right?
I liked the extended version much more, as always.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't understand why they don't just air the extended cut, because, again, it's like their highest rated show. Why not just show the hour long or the hour plus, like, instead?
Yeah. Well, so would you have enjoyed if that sort of deranged fan freak out was included in the final cut?
Yeah, it woke me up when I saw it on the extended cut. I was like, I mean, it had nothing to do with anything, so I get why they kept it out, because it was irrelevant. But I was like, ooh.
Yeah, for me, it definitely made me go, ooh. It definitely.
He was like on PCP or something. Like, he was like losing his mind.
I will get to it, but when I saw, oh my god, I think a problem is also that my mic is right in my mouth. When I saw him throw that vase at the security guard's face,
it was scary.
I was like, holy shit. But the one thing why I don't think it should have been in there is because with it cut, the scenes right after they just had a full-blown meltdown at Kyle Chan's party make no sense, because everybody's like, I can't wait to hear Sheena perform. Let's completely pretend that this fan didn't shatter a bunch of shit all around us and get kicked out. You know what I mean? It really affected the tenor of the night.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad I didn't see that in there, because I think it would have already made a messy, chaotic finale even worse for me. Mm-hmm. But then I did ultimately like seeing it, I guess.
Sheena's performance in the extended cut seemed way better. Like,
yeah,
way more energy, and it like seemed like a success, whereas in the regular episode it seemed like very mid.
Yeah, I mean, I much preferred Good as Gold Screamo version being in there. Everyone was hyped up and having the time of their lives. I don't really know why they wanted to do Apples. I guess because Apples was such a centerpiece of one of the storylines.
And to show Sandoval bopping his head to the song about him being like a narcissistic psycho.
Yeah, and he goes, you know what? I was kind of hard on this song, but actually, it kind of rips. But so I think, and that was another like kind of flop storyline. So there was stuff that they tried. But yeah, so I do think it was, sort of pure shit if it wasn't the series finale. But I also would have been bummed out if it was the series finale too, because that would have been a really bad way to go.
Yeah. Also, they didn't give Kyle Chan very much sponsorship. He was not even present, and the only time you saw his product was when that psycho guy tried to feed it to Katie.
Yeah, if you're gonna drink
Katie!
Kyle. Yeah, that was. That was wild. Is the message that if you drink Kyle Chan's whiskey, you're going to have a full-blown meltdown while cameras are watching you?
Yeah, he was on one.
No offense to him, but if you watch the cut in every scene that anyone is having at that finale party, that guy walks by behind them in every single scene. It's really scary.
Do you think he was a plant by Sandoval so that he could save the day?
Totally. And I think he missed his cue. He was supposed to throw the vase to the left of Sandoval, but it accidentally went in the security guard's face.
What if something wild happened where like Ariana was in danger and Dan wasn't there and Sandoval saved her?
I mean,
what would she do? Would she be like, fuck you?
She would have. She would have still said fuck you, but whoa, that was so close to actually being a reality.
I was like dreaming alternate plot lines.
So Dan was, what could have Dan been doing? He was like distracted. He was looking at the Applebee's menu on his phone because he was getting hyped up
The
for
QR
Dollaritas.
code.
I want to say one thing because we're on this meltdown that this fan had, this like very scary situation. I mean, I'm sure that was scary, of course, to witness for everyone, and I can't believe they had to like rebound and rally after that. But did it remind you at all of Roadhouse? You know what I'm talking about?
I was gonna say it reminded me of Luann's ex who was fucked up at that dry cleaning party.
Oh, that's the exact same energy.
Yeah,
That-
unhinged.
For some people, I want to say, because this is what I thought at the time. For some reason, when people get in the room with a camera, I mean, that was someone's friend. That was like Kyle Chan's friend.
Yeah, it was a weird group, and like Kristen low-key was there. Like there were people that were like not shown.
And also, I don't understand what we're really talking about the finale party, but that's like the whole thing of this episode. But also, I don't know why they invited like influencers and vloggers, because those are the people that are just going to be filming the entire time. And so in every scene, there's cameras and eyes on all of them, which is one thing that always takes me out in these scenes. You did a finale centered around these influencers, so in every scene, you see all of the energy that's pointed towards them from all of the people around them, which always takes me out of it.
Yeah. So I guess if we go through it there, before that, there's not that much that happens before the event, but like it basically immediately opens with Lala talking shit about Dan, because she said that she kind of clarified in the after show, not really, but she said that Ariana was like, trust me, like Dan doesn't fuck around, like he'll fight Tom. Like she said something like that. And then in reality, he was like, hey man.
Yeah. You're talking
he
about
was like very chill.
You're talking about what Lala was saying to Katie, right?
Yeah, she was like, this guy sounds like a fucking square. And I was like, wait, you think he sounds like a square because he's ready to fight?
Yeah, well, first of all, you never know what Lala is going to think about anything or what her take is going to be on any situation. So this was a perfect representation of that. But she also did this like as if it was Ariana talking, and the way she put it in Ariana's mouth, she was like, Dan's like a fighter, and he said he would fucking kick Tom Sandoval's ass if he came near. It's like, that doesn't sound like Ariana at all.
Yeah.
And then she goes, so he sounds like a fucking dud. And Katie's like, he's one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And it just fully takes the wind out of what Lala was saying. The like shit talking session that she wanted to have against Dan with Katie. It was
not worth it. And then like one of the next things she says is on the trolley where she's like, would you guys still have come if that other guy was still going to be here? What did she say?
Yeah, let me see. So they're on the trolley. I was like, what is going on here? They're doing the San Francisco trolley. This is another sort of absolute dud San Francisco scene where it's just like, we're in San Francisco, but nothing is happening. And then Lala, who I guess she's so cognizant of the scenes that are not working, or she thinks she has the best producer brain in the world, that she says this completely out of context thing while they're just enjoying a trolley ride. She says, were you always going to come on the trolley even if the other person was here? And then Ariana goes, I don't know. And then it just fully ends. And I do want to talk about that. Why does Lala feel the need to comment on the fact that there's always this divide between Sandoval and Ariana, and she says that like scenes are being ruined, or the show is being ruined by Ariana's boundaries or whatever. But then when you're on a trolley and almost the entire cast is there and things are you could do anything with this scene, you're going to do almost a fourth wall break where you say a incomprehensible sentence that no one would ever say in real life. Were you always going to come on the trolley even if the other person was here? It's like, what do you mean? That is such that to me, it doesn't make any sense as language. But also, what is she trying to say? Is she trying to feel out in this trolley moment if Ariana would have set her boundary and not gone on the trip with them if Sandoval had come? Is that what?
Yeah, I think they were all a little confused about Dan's level of participation. Like James brought up on the after show, like that he thought it was weird that he didn't come to everything. He was like, if it were me and I was invited on a cast trip, I would then go to every single thing. He said, not because I want to be on camera, which I'm like, well, that is why you would want to go to everything.
Yes.
But he was saying like to support his girl and be by her side at every single thing or whatever. So I think there was a level of weirdness, and obviously Lala has made it her mission to poke holes wherever possible.
Right.
So I think she had already mentioned that it was weird that he didn't come on the boat. I think maybe she was the only one that said that, but James, I think James said that it was weird that he didn't go on the boat. So I think the thing is, the only pass I'll give to Lala, even though she's being insufferable about it, I totally believe her that everyone was saying all of these things, but they didn't want to say them on camera. And obviously she's going extremely out of her way, and it's becoming problematic because it's like, what's your beef? Like, can you chill? But like, I believe that like Katie said shit. I believe that like Schwartz said shit.
I don't think Katie said shit.
I do.
Why? Tell me.
Because I think she is very quiet on the after show next to Ariana. I think she has shit to say. I think she resents her for historically always backing up Sandoval. Like, Sandoval treated Katie badly, and Ariana never really fucking cared. I think she's pissed that, low-key, that she never got the glory that Ariana got, even though now she finally kind of is. People are starting to stan Katie. But, like, she went through the fucking ringer for years and no one gave a shit. And I think that, like, that exists.
Okay. In Katie.
Yeah.
Within Katie. Okay, you know what? I never like to do this. But I have to say, I think Katie genuinely, if anybody knows boundaries and doing what's right for you, I feel like Katie has those same rules for herself. And that's why when Joe came over, she treats Joe like an ant that she's going to light up with a magnifying glass the minute that Schwartz pushed Joe in her direction, because she's like, I'll never fuck with you. I know the only reason you're talking to me now is because you want a scene, and if you want a scene, look at what I'm going to fucking give you. Basically, so I
just don't think she like loves Ariana as much as it's made to think they're a duo. I don't think they're really a dynamic duo. I don't think they love each other that much.
Okay, I think this is I mean, I think they are finding the love for each other that Sandoval squandered because he was the person that was dividing them, and now they realize that they have so much in common and they actually love each other. And I know that's like probably the majority opinion, but that's truly how I feel, and I'm not just trying to stan Katie and Ariana. I'm really not. I really do feel like they have found a similar vibe with each other, and Katie knows. She's like, she knows what Sandoval's like. Like Katie's fury towards Sandoval, I buy it the most. Her and Ariana are like united now in knowing that this guy is like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And knowing that he actively was subverting their relationship by talking shit about Katie, I'm sure, to Ariana anytime she would listen. So I do think there's true, real feelings there, but I could be swayed. You know, I'm not like, I don't know.
No, I mean, I think that they have more opportunity than ever to be brought together, especially now. So it's like, yeah, they hate Sandoval together. Sheena's fucked up. So now that's going to be a burned bridge, and that will bring them together because Katie's never liked Sheena. I'm just like, I'm curious to see what happens next, because I would say Ariana's much more comfortable walking away from the show.
Yeah.
And she probably will. She said on Watch What Happens Live, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way, she said that she just couldn't quit because she couldn't afford to quit.
That's what she said?
She said that to Angie's face.
She said, currently where I'm at right now in my life, I can't afford to quit.
she did this season because she couldn't financially afford to not do it.
Season 11.
Yes.
Well, I think that at the time when it started, only 10% of the deals that ultimately happened had
No,
happened.
for sure. I believe her, but I think it's kind of
Oh,
crude.
I thought you were. I'm sorry. I thought you meant Ariana was lying because she was so rich.
No, they all need
you
every
mean-
cent of this
Oh,
money.
okay.
None of them can afford to leave.
Okay, I got
I'm
it.
saying like it felt a little like,
That
ugh.
you do it for the paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, of course they do, but like
Yeah.
it felt a little like, oh God, like it's just down to brass tacks. Like I can sense
Well-
that you're doing it for the paycheck, but I'm curious to see what would happen if they were sort of pitted, not against each other, but like if Katie felt that she had to continue to participate because she was like, well, I'm not leaving out of, self-care or whatever. I need to still do this. And I feel like we got a little taste of that at the beach when she was entertaining a conversation with Sandoval,
Yeah.
which felt bizarre.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
And so
shocking.
I'm like, I think that like something fucking weird could happen, which ultimately would be quite interesting if there was a weird rift because Katie had to keep participating and Ariana chose not to. But they have the sandwich shop. Like, I think, but it might be too fourth wall-y. I don't know.
to
But
get
like,
into that kind of stuff.
I think that there could be something weird there.
Oh, wow. Okay. If any Little Turtle Cuties or Villa Rosa VIPs have their antennas up to a secret rift between Katie and Ariana, I do want to know because I don't see it, but
I don't
know
think it's like a rift. I think that there's like
the what's that called? The opportunity for some rocky roads ahead, given
Yeah.
what they're dealing with currently.
Yeah. Although it seems like, historically, Katie's thing is loyalty, black and white. She's
Yeah.
like she said on this episode, it's very simple. A guy fucked over your friend, fuck the
Yes.
guy, right? Like, so I feel like Ariana is her new, like, loyalty person.
Uh-huh.
It used to be Stassi forever.
Mm-hmm.
So she's comfortable in that role, but I'm curious what would happen if that person was taken away.
What Katie would do.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Katie did have a post Stassi season, and she kind of turned into like the ringleader for Sheena and everyone else. They were sort of bowing towards Katie, but that was so back in the past.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I think that right now this is a duo that I enjoy seeing, but I understand half of the fandom that says that they're mad at them for this united front. But on the trolley, I just have to say, I mean, I know that we're all talking, like every scene is talking about the same thing. It's like, what's
Yeah.
wrong with Vanderpump Rules? But on the trolley, when Lala is like, like, what is going on with you and Sandoval? That's the question. Like, that's the question nonstop.
Yeah.
It's like that. This
Beating
is
a dead horse.
Yes, and this represents what is wrong with this season. Do something else on the trolley. Go up to the trolley driver and take his hat and spin it around in your head and start beeping the trolley. Do anything. Like you know what I mean? I already said it. Can something else happen?
There's like no camaraderie.
Yeah. Can anything happen? Can Brock say back in New Zealand? Do you remember when I said that I loved the pig farmer's daughter? Well, can I talk about that again? I would have preferred anything other than Lala subtly breaking the fourth wall to ask again, what are the boundaries that Ariana has set for Sandoval? Like, you ruined this trolley scene by just saying this stupid thing out of context. Not that Lala's stupid, but just this very dumb sentence. And it's representative of what is wrong with this entire season. Do something else.
Yeah.
Do anything else. And Ariana, I liked her response. Oh, I don't know. Like, she just shut it down completely. Like, why are we talking about that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But like, I can't even imagine what else these people would do.
Well, the finale, or the finale party shows us what they thought could possibly work. James and Allie working on their relationship. There was nothing there. The Joe thing, like we said, it spiraled out. Like, there was nothing else because this is the place that they got to. But I'm just saying that's unfortunately just a problem with the cast. And so all of these scenes just strike me as, indicative of a flopping season and cast.
Yeah. Then there's like the lunch where there's also nothing to really do. I mean, at least in the extended cut, you get more from Allie asks what drew Dan and Ariana to each other. I was like, okay.
I didn't really understand Dan's story.
Me
Did you?
neither. I want to be. I know that it's a sensitive subject, so
course
I don't
it
want to
was.
be like
Yeah, I didn't-
flippant about it. But I was like, what are you saying?
I didn't understand. I didn't understand.
He said that there was a at a wedding there was a conversation about race,
and he
like a round table.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I also I'm not trying to be flippant about it, but I honestly
No, it was confusing.
I did not understand the specifics of what Ariana did that he was attracted to.
He said she was empathetic to his plight, I guess.
Yeah, and then she said he was also a really good listener. So they both had the same. I think it was this. It must have been the same 8-person conversation at the wedding where they were getting really.
What's
into
going
it.
on at this wedding? Like a fireside chat. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But they also like kiss like every like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
I felt like they reused some of them potentially, but they just were giving a little smooch like every 30 seconds as like a check-in.
Yeah. Yes, I saw a lot of kissing too. Is that well, there was so much wrong with this lunch too? Because then like Lala was doing the inquisitive Dan check. Is that right now?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
she like.
It was like 400 questions.
But like, why? Like why?
Yeah.
Really? Why? Tell me why. Like the Lala heads, who even if you're like Lala moves,
There's
the story,
very few.
I know. Lala moves the story forward. At least somebody's picking up the the legacy of Vanderpump Rules on their back. It's like, this is it?
Yeah.
Just asking 100 questions of Dan in a row where it doesn't seem organic or authentic at all because you're very suspicious of Dan because like in a fourth wall breaky way where you're worried about anybody who enters the Vanderpump Rules group.
Right.
Why did you want that on camera?
Yeah. I really think she's like literally last ditch effort trying to poke holes wherever she can to see if like anything comes out.
Yeah, it was definitely giving poke holes to see what comes out, but also it was like they were also like they're like, let's talk about threesomes for a second. Like they could have brought out the sex questions game right then. I would have been like, that feels exactly natural. I mean, you're talking about if Schwartz has ever had a threesome in his life. Like it was like lowest common denominator stuff that they're all doing in the finale.
Yeah. And then Sheena equally pathetically brings up that
Not pathetic.
I mean, last ditch was like, so I talked to Sandoval and I told him that it was wrong that he weaponized your mental health. And it's like, okay, great lunch topic. Like, God.
Yes.
And she's trying to defend him for like the 400th time. And Katie's like, why are we going to keep believing what this guy says? Which I'm like, yeah, like what up? Like, why are we doing this? Like
no, that's what it was. And how Sheena put it, if I remember correctly, she said, last night, Ariana, just so you know, I put a new thing into perspective for Sandoval about the weaponizing of your mental health. And I'll just say the mask finally fell. And I think he really, for the first time, really thought about that. And he almost had it like, oh my God, how did I not see that moment? And she's just telling this all to Ariana, the least sympathetic version to this very ham-handed, ridiculous story that Tom Sandoval just found out the truth of his actions through Sheena's conversation with him.
Yeah, which like isn't even true. He was just like strategically, he was like, oh, I guess I could apologize if that's like a good way in kind of a thing.
Do you agree with Ariana's sentiment in the after show where she says, what Sheena does with Sandoval is ultimately going to be okay, but I am not your diary for your feelings.
No, that's the ridiculous thing. It's like, okay, if you want to be like friendly with him on one side just because you feel extremely overwhelmed with the idea of cutting him off, like you might, despite what Ariana says, like you're not going to be as close with her because that makes her uncomfortable, which is fair.
Yes.
But the psychosis of telling her again and again and again, like, I mean, I can't, it's just for the show. It has to be like no normal person would do that in normal life.
It's because Ariana is the center of the universe to them for some reason. I mean, I agree Ariana is a very pivotal cast member, but they are treating Ariana as if she is the god that they should circle around and worship. So everyone feels like they have to do something in opposition or in sympathy towards Ariana instead of just doing whatever else they want.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just like, Gina, again?
Yeah.
Please.
I wonder, like, what was the dynamic that was built? Like, who enforced that dynamic? You know what I mean? Like, is it producers? Is it Ariana? Is it both? Is it, like, what made them feel so locked in by that?
It's that they are all spiraling uniquely on their own. James is like, I love this hippie stuff, but I'm sorry, nothing else I did this season is rising to the occasion. I'm sorry. Everyone has a flop season. James, unfortunately, was definitely in the background this season. No one can deny that. This was not a great showcase for James this season. Lala had nothing. Sperm party. She got sperm everywhere in Lisa's Villa Rosa mansion, and it flopped. Sheena only has scenes in relation to her dynamic between Sandoval and Ariana, and that's why it's beating a dead horse that is so dead. And so I just think that it's indicative of their floundering as cast members, that they got to the point where they could only have scenes about Sandoval and Ariana.
Yeah.
And
Brock is part of that as well. He's coming out. He's saying more than he's ever said before, but it's always that.
What did he say? I'm sticking up for my wife.
Yeah, he's like, because Katie's like, why are we going to keep believing him? And Brock's like, because she has a friendship with him. And the scene before, Brock was like saying, he was trying to say that Sandoval is a better friend than Ariana, which Sheena disagrees with.
Sheena says, that's not true at all. Brock tries to set the stage for this. We're going with Sandoval. # team Sandoval for Brock and Sheena. And he tries to put words in Sheena's mouth as if he's speaking it as a united front, that Tom is a better friend to Sheena, letting her back him up and potentially go that route. And Sheena says, no, that is not the case at all. Ariana is just as good of a friend to me, and she disagrees with Brock in the moment. And I felt like it was almost like Brock thought he was taking cues from Sheena as to what they wanted to do with the scene. Like, ultimately, we're going to ride for Sandoval, right? Because we know that Sandoval's definitely going to get the audience back on his side by this time in filming. So let's make the stand now, and Sheena's not ready to go all the way.
Right.
She wants to still be, what's that called? Total middle ground through this entire situation.
She gives a little bit. She's like, yeah, Ariana is someone that's not likely to show up to your event, but she still wants to be invited. And I mean, Lala, of course, doubles down on the after show and says that Ariana is a bad friend and that she will never check on you. And that, I don't know, I feel like Brittany was just nodding along.
Oh, Brittany did not give Lala anything in that conversation at all. They all said friendship, like they all spoke of friendship, like going to events. Right. I was like, is that the only barometer for a very good friend? I was like, that's like one of the maybe 20 things I look for in a friend. And that was the only thing they could say as an example of Ariana being a shitty friend to them.
Right. And then like the big thing on this episode, which I mean, we'll get into it, but the big thing that Sheena is hitching her wagon to is that Sandoval paid his sound guy to come out. Yeah. And I'm like, why would he have to pay for that? This is Kyle Chan's event that he asked her to perform at. Why does he have to pay for that?
I mean, do you want to get into it now, or let's wait for the finale? Because I have so many thoughts on that too. Okay. Just like the trolley scene, I have a lot of thoughts about that. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. So blah blah blah. They're interrogating Dan, and then they get into it about loyalty to Sandoval, and then Schwartz foolishly tries to chime in and says, you know, he's not a trash guy. He just did a trash thing. And Ariana's like, I'll fucking kill you.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, watch what you fucking say in front of me.
She goes, you can get the fuck out of this Chinese food restaurant right now if you ever say what he did to me as one trash thing.
He was like, ah!
He goes, oh, yeah, anyway, sorry, I'm going to keep drinking this beer. He was so shut down in that moment. I mean, it's true. He forgot who was sitting across from him. That is a very, very euphemistic, shitty way to explain what Sandoval did. And also, I know people are over it now, but you can't forget, this is 3 months after. Yeah. So I felt like Ariana was completely validated for sticking up for herself and not considering that lightly, what he did to her.
Yeah. I know. It's like, I feel like everything with Schwartz is always minute to minute. Like, he made a joke at that table either before or after that, and she was like laughing. Yeah. And I was like, okay, we're fine. And then later she was like, I'll kill you. And I was like, we're not okay.
Yeah, for sure. Schwartz is very diplomatic about Ariana. You know how Lala is trying to spread the conspiracy that everybody talks shit about Ariana behind her back and they all hate her. I didn't get one sense of that from Schwartz.
Yeah.
Even in the after show, he was like, I understand why she didn't want to do that.
He
like,
doesn't give a shit about anything.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I think Lala lumping them all in, and then you already take Schwartz out of the equation and potentially take
Well, I
Katie
hope Andy asks every single person with a lie detector if they resented Ariana's success.
Well, this scene, we can talk about it now, the reunion scene that they're touting. Did you watch the trailer of the reunion?
I think I did.
Okay, well, it's like Andy goes, we're going to watch 10 minutes of
yeah.
footage from the finale all together, and we're going to process it collectively for the first time in Vanderpump Rules history. And I was like, what the hell is this footage going to be? And then now we know it's the Applebee's footage. Mm-hmm. It's going to be Brad and Ariana going to Applebee's, what they ordered. No, I'm saying it's going to be
maybe they'll get espresso martinis.
It's
going to
be the 7 minutes that Ariana didn't see because she hasn't watched the show.
Yeah.
So when they said, Ariana, you didn't get to catch up. You've been doing Chicago or whatever the hell you've been doing. You have to see how the night ended. And so they're going to all have to react in real time. Ariana's going to watch how they all talk to her at the reunion in real time. I think that's going to be kind of wild.
I'm most excited for the reunion because I feel like that's what's needed. Is like, let's get down to the bottom of this.
Yeah, and end it.
Yeah.
End whatever is going on here.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, we get another, at least in the at the extended thing, there was a Joe and Schwartz interlude where they acted fucking crazy as always.
Yeah, it was like me when I was screaming earlier in this episode. Schwartz was screaming,
He's
Joseph.
Like, Joseph! And then they're like, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And they're like,
Iron my shirt, Joseph!
We like these subs.
What'd you say?
Because they're good for us. Quiznos.
Was that?
Do you remember the Quiznos with the little furry freaks?
Yeah, I couldn't even watch those commercials. They came on when I was at an age when I didn't want to see scary stuff on television. I would scream, "Daddy, turn it off."
They have Joe energy.
Are you saying you're not saying what Katie said about her, right? That
Rat Girl's different than little Quiznos sub.
Was that
people.
Why did Quiznos, which makes amazing subs, want the illusion to their audience that a little stinker creature that smells and has hair all over it is running around Quiznos screaming?
It was like the early internet days.
You like stuff like that.
I love little fuckers like that.
So do you like the Quiznos stinker?
I love like freaking little leprechauns and like devils.
And you like the Noid, right?
Gremlins.
And you like the Noid, right?
Yeah.
You is kind of a freak. Wait, tell me.
I like little bastards.
Yeah, little stinkers. What was the Quiznos stinker called in real life?
I don't know. It was kind of a one-off.
Oh, he was just in one?
It was like a weird ad. It wasn't like a,
Then why did I have nightmares about it for years?
It was popular.
I have one thing to say about this Joe scene. It makes no sense that Joe is here, obviously.
No.
I mean, obviously. It just doesn't make any sense.
Billy Lee. Oh, I guess she's friends with Kyle Chan.
That makes sense. I mean, they just... I mean...
Yeah, as we said before, Kyle Chan doesn't even like Joe.
And Schwartz isn't even there really to usher her through this process. All Joe is there to do is for Schwartz to push her towards Katie, ultimately, for that scene.
That sucked. I hated watching that.
Yeah, okay, so you're right. They do one final improv comedy moment, sort of like the Quiznos creature that you alluded
to. He
to.
also insults her and says that, he's like, are you wearing makeup? And she's like, yeah. And then he says in his confessional that whenever, because she rarely wears makeup, he said, it's like when a little girl gets into her mommy's makeup and smears it all over her face and it just feels wrong. I was like, Jesus Christ, like you used to bang that chick, like have some respect. He's like, she's not normal.
All right, it was good for that moment. It was good for that. Then we get another Brock and Sheena moment. Brock called the hotelier.
She couldn't have been more underwhelmed, if not angry.
She said, okay, can we talk about Sandoval for a second? I felt kind of bad for him now that I think about that. He
was like, rose petals on the bed, and she was like, look at this. Well.
She goes, there's definitely petals on the bed. He called Jeremiah, and he goes, Jeremiah, get up here really quick. Do you have a rose that I can rip all the leaves off of and put on the bed? And then what else was there? No offense to Brock. This is sweet.
Maybe
But
like strawberries or something.
there were strawberries. There was a little bit of some appetizers or whatever. But Sheena really didn't even take it in for 1 second. She looked at Brock and she said,
No, thank you.
she said, I just had a breakthrough with Tom. Right?
More importantly.
No, she said, thanks, honey. They kiss, and then he goes, Brock says something about, did you say you made things up with Tom, right? Because he's talking more about, Sheena's amazing conversation that she had, right? Breakthrough conversation. Did you make things up? And Sheena, it keeps pushing back on Brock's theory that Sheena is fully aligned with Sandoval now, because she's so worried about the audience at this moment thinking that she's riding for Sandoval, even though everyone does. Yeah. So she keeps pushing back. She said, we didn't make up. We had a breakthrough conversation. We're not best friends again. And Brock just kind of goes, okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. You're giving me mixed signals here. I thought we're starting to rally around Sandoval. You know what I mean? He's like missing the cues that they're trying to be aligned with about how they're moving through the story. Right.
Then we get a Schwartz checking in with Tom moment. Do you notice Tom was wearing a t-shirt from the hotel? And before, in the last episode, he also bought a San Francisco sweatshirt.
I think he lost his luggage and he's only buying merchandise from all the places he's at. Yeah, because you're right.
I was like, what's going on?
He got a Wharf shirt, right? And then he's wearing what was the hotel? Argonaut?
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's all merched out. How did you feel about his joke where Schwartz was like, I met Dan. He seems like a really cool guy. And Sandoval's like, she has great taste in men.
I had to pause it because I was laughing so hard. I'll be honest with you.
You're like, he's got the goods.
Yeah.
Sheena does have to check in with Lisa. That is contractually bound.
I could have used, it was contractually obligated.
She's like, I sent the rose petals up.
Did she say that?
No.
Did you like your surprise?
I upgraded you.
She should have done that. I could have used Lisa. Lisa couldn't have made it worse. Right?
She's like, I had a great conversation with Sandoval. And she's like, do you still love him? And she's like, yes. And she's like, well, there's your answer. I was like, the fuck?
It was exactly like that. It was just like, Lisa said to Sheena, she said, stop what you're saying right now. I don't need to hear anything about the breakthrough conversation. I have one question for you. Do you still love him, Sheena? And Sheena goes, you know I do, Lisa. And then like you just said, well, that's your answer. It's like, what? So Sheena loves Sandoval again.
I guess.
Did she? So Sheena at one point was comfortable saying that she loves him still? I mean, I don't know. I guess love is I guess it doesn't matter that she loves him.
Yeah, like I feel like she's it's the vibe of like, I'll always love him, or like he's like a brother to me, or whatever, you know.
But that was sort of like Lisa missed a lot of meetings and storylines to where she was just going to what the attitude was in the first 3 episodes, where she thought that like everyone was going to be aligned with Sandoval, and she was giving Sheena the full carte blank check to go forward in her Sandoval journey, even though that's not where the audience is at all and where Sheena ends up.
Right. Then we get a misguided Lala Katie conversation where Lala's again railing into this thing, saying that like she's like, Sheena's really having a hard time because she doesn't, she has to be loyal to Ariana, and Ariana has all these mad rules about not being able to hang out with Sandoval or whatever. And I'm like, no, read the audience. Like, Katie doesn't agree with you. Like, why do you think, same with when she was saying that Dan seems weird. I was like, why do you think Katie's going to be receptive to this? Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, she keeps shutting her down and make Lala just on an island with all of these hateful thoughts that no one is going to agree with. I don't understand either.
Yeah, like, Katie says it's kind of a more nuanced than that. She says, Katie says Sandoval didn't make a mistake. He made bad choices again and again for months. And she's like, yeah, if Sheena wants to have a friend like that, she can do that or whatever. Yes. And I'm like, Katie's even probably more staunch than Ariana, honestly, on this matter. Like, why do you think she's the one to talk to?
It's similar to the Brock and Sheena thing where it's just like no one knows what anyone thinks. No one knows what to do. They're just all sort of sputtering, trying to figure out how to move forward.
Yeah. And then Sandoval tells Schwartz that Sheena told him to apologize about the mental health thing. Mm-hmm. Also, did he bring like special lights in his hotel room? He had like ambient blue and like purple lights in his room.
I think, you know how he said Rachel and him cut off contact. Yeah. I think the only way that he's able to still communicate with her is by sending light signals to her lamp that she still has.
Galaxy light. Yeah. Okay, so we can just go to the event, I think. Okay. Which opens with Tom running around, plugging shit in and, you know, helping with production or whatever. And Sheena arrives and is like introduced to his sound guy.
Yeah. And I want to say before we get there, because it's not just that, but we're right there. But before that, they've got to show Tom Sandoval on his hands and knees with 2 microphones in his hands, plugging in cords and cables, like coughing up dust, like he just did the most intricate wiring you've ever seen in your life to set up the sound. Yeah. He goes, anybody got the other XLR cord? And what about the X980? Do we have anywhere to plug that in? I'm like, what the hell?
James made fun of him for that.
Yeah, that was show. Yeah, that I mean,
he was like, you literally like plug in a speaker. It's not that fucking hard.
Yes. Seriously. So Sheena comes up to Tom, right?
It's also like, sorry, but like the band, it's an operational functioning band. Like I'm pretty sure they know how to set up their equipment, no?
Well, yeah, for sure they do. And for sure, whatever, like, I mean, I've said this before already, but it doesn't matter, but I'll just say it now. Kyle Chan put Tom Sandoval as being responsible for the sound because he wanted Sheena and Sandoval to have scenes together because he knew it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
But the sound had to work good, or otherwise, or Kyle would have had to find another person to do sound just as good because you asked Sheena to perform. So nothing that Sandoval is doing is above and beyond for Sheena at all. So the fact that she's blown away by this makes absolutely no sense to me.
Right. I mean, they're framing it that he paid out of pocket to fly this man out.
Yeah. And then when Sheena gets there and she's stunned. She goes, you have 2 XLR cables, 2 gold microphones. Like she's so stunned. And then she has to go to the sound engineer and she's like, oh my God, so you did all of this for me? And you're a sound engineer, right? And he goes, yes, I am. And then she goes, but Sandoval, you paid for him to come here? All for me? Like this big overblown reaction to try to milk for all it's worth that Sandoval did the best thing in the world
and
for her.
And he's like, yes, I did. And she goes, wait, what?
She goes, you're kidding. What? Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's like, what the hell is happening here?
And then she's like, in her confessional, she's like, you know, he just does things for people when they don't even ask. And I hope he continues down that path. And I'm like, those aren't the same thing. Like lying and cheating and like manipulating people on one side and then like treating people with like monetary favors on another side are like not the same.
She cheapened the gift giving love language that Tom Sandoval everyone has been touting the entire time. You made a mockery of it by taking this very routine elementary thing that would have happened regardless and blowing it up.
Yeah.
As if the audience is going to be blown away. As if you and I would have been like, you know what? I love Sandoval again.
I know.
And I have to say, I know she wasn't blown away by this. And I said this on TikTok, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to say it on Turtle Time. It's important. What was Sheena trying to accomplish by overstating what Tom Sandoval did for her? Is it to make it easier for herself to justify her actions when she ultimately tells Ariana that she's going to move forward with a beautiful friendship by making it seem like he just went nuts on her and did everything and displayed the pure, beautiful friendship? Or did she want to make Sandoval look good for the audience and give him a full win, thinking that kind of stuff might showcase Tom for all of us and we would love him again?
Yeah, both. But it felt to me like it was like a play to the audience to be like, look at all the things he does. And she kept saying, her and Brock kept being like, he does things when you don't even ask. He does things that you'll never see. And I'm like, are we just talking about like the Venmo.
Yes.
Like, it's like, that's like the only example. And that he goes to events.
And the Nick Choice Award. They're using the same 3 things that we've heard all the time. And you're right. It does not affect someone doing horrible, horrible things to anybody. And that's why I'm saying you sabotaged the gift-giving love language completely by showing it in this light.
Yeah, I know, because then later, like, we'll get into it later, but when Ariana comes up to her after the show and like gives her a hug and says like, you killed it and all that, I was like, that was very heartfelt. Like, I believe that perhaps because of her personality or like overwhelm, that she probably leaves people on red a lot and like doesn't, isn't super engaged or whatever. But like, I do believe that she's like very loyal, and I feel like there are multiple times by now that her and Sheena always seem like an odd pairing. We've talked about that. We're covering back on Patreon, so like that's why this is fun, because we are in tandem watching old and new at the same time in the dynamic, and like they've faced many rocky roads together, and their friendship always seemed strange and like kind of mismatched, but like I've explained it as like a nerdy girl, not a nerd, but like a rocker and a cheerleader, like in high school, where like you go your separate ways, but you're still low-key friends or whatever. I feel like the fact that they've made it this far and that Ariana is still like, I'm not even still, I mean, after reunion, it's probably fucked, but like at this point, she's like, you're not dead to me. Like, you'll never be out of my life. Like, you're like family to me. So like, I think she does seem like a loyal friend, and like if you're in her life for that long, like she's not going to kick you to the curb. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I do want to say, just because one thing that I can't get over, one hurdle I can't get over, is Sheena and Sandoval's friendship. Like, I just don't buy it anymore. First of all, because after Scandoval at Tom Tom, when Scandoval erupted, Tom Sandoval was screaming at Sheena that we're not even close, we're not even friends, we don't care about each other. And I believe that there was truth in how, when Sandoval said that, I believe that he didn't actually consider Sheena a close friend at that point. So I don't think that they were very good, despite him Venmoing her every time, in COVID or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, like I said last week, Sandoval screams at you at the pool party and brings up the cheating scandal or whatever. Like, he's treating Sheena like shit. So I can't buy the world where she's stuck between a rock and a hard place. The rock is Ariana, who's loved her forever. They have the best relationship. She texts her all the time. She's probably so supportive. And then the hard place is this shitty fucking person who screams at you, who said he wasn't even close to you. And now you're doing all the work to try to get him back in the good graces of the audience.
Right. I know. I don't think we're on the cusp of maybe one episode away from season 4, where Sheena reaches out to Ariana's mom and tells her that she's concerned about Tom's effect on Ariana's personality. I
can't wait to get to that.
And so I'm like, there's so much history.
I can't wait. And can we leave that beautiful thought in our little turtle cuties' heads and take just one certified turtle piss break? Do you care? And I'm also going to drink water, and I'm going to turn a light on. Is that okay with you?
Sounds good.
Okay. We're back.
Hey.
Amy, I'd like to apologize to the little turtle cuties. Do you care?
Please pop off.
I was so tired today, and I was so worried that I wouldn't be good at talking about Vanderpump Rules that I chugged a full Red Bull right before recording, and I have a sensitive constitution, and it affected me to a great degree, and it caused me to scream. So if you heard screaming and were hurt in your ears from yelling, just know that I was on a Red Bull.
Trigger warning.
What?
A screaming man.
Oh,
male rage.
I agree. I honestly, I don't want people to not listen to Turtle Time because they heard a screaming man, not drunk, but like powered by Red Bull.
No, we need the energy.
But I know, but I would. Okay. Anyway, well, just please forgive me, and I'm not going to be like that ever again.
Okay, so let's hop back into the party. Low key, Dan and Ariana arrive. Also Brad. And
I gotta ask you, people want to know, Villa Rosa VIPs and Little Turtle Cuties want to know, was Brad dressed up in gold?
It was giving pure yellow.
Do you think he
piss color.
Do you think that I think he was going for gold, right?
Going for the gold.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Because
well,
I forgot that not only was Sheena's, like, I forgot that the tie-in of why they even wanted Sheena to perform was the Good as Gold bar whiskey.
yeah.
So it was all gold.
Yeah. So they arrive. What is that? What was it? A gold bar whiskey? Is it the opening of a bar?
I think it's like the launch of the product itself.
And it's in Alcatraz?
Yeah, it was all very strange. I really don't understand any of it. And I wish they spent, honestly, not to give Kyle Chan sponsor opportunity, but I was like, can we like contextualize this event a little bit? Like give him 10 seconds of a speech where he says like, I've been working on this a long time. Like I was just like, what is this?
I think he did that in that weird craft scene that our Villa Rosa VIP told us about, where they all did crafting stuff with him, and he must have explained it, and they just cut it out. But that's bad.
Right.
You should know about this gold whiskey journey that you're on.
Right.
Then James says, Allie, I think this finale is pure shit. Can we go outside and do something for a scene?
He should have proposed for the drama.
He should have. Like in the parking lot, I would have been like, all right.
It was giving proposal.
It was giving pre-engagement engagement.
Yeah.
He goes, I love you, as you know. And
Yeah.
I know hippie is very cool, but to be honest, I really, really love you. And then Allie goes, well, you know what? I also love you. And I know I'm not fully ready for marriage yet, but someday, if potentially marriage was a thing, you could be married to me. And they kiss, and that's it.
Well, also in his confessional, he's talking again about it's almost like the like Craig and Paige storyline where they're just making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be a mountain to him, because he was like saying that he thought he would meet a girl, get married at 26, have a kid at 28, because his dad had him at 28. And he's telling this story and he starts crying. And I was like, it was almost as if his dad was no longer with us. And I was like, the London gangster's alive and well. Why are we so upset? Like, he's 32 years old. Why is he acting like this is his last chance at love? Like, what is happening?
His timeline for himself was like 25, married with children for some reason.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I don't want to get too, dark or deep or whatever. I just think that like he has, because of his shattered family, he needs some sort of like consistency, deep love and consistency in his life. And so that's what it was giving to me.
Yeah.
But I just, this scene again is just par for the course for this finale, where it's like nothing popped off. And I also think a lot of James and Allie's scenes were cut this season, because there's no excuse for what happened here, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay, then we get a little Joe and Schwartz moment. She says in her confessional that she loves him and wishes they could be together, but she's like, what am I supposed to do? Lay in bed and cry all day? But she wants him in her life forever. They're chatting at the, party or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you want to go over to the Lion's Den, aka like where Katie and Lala are sitting? And I'm like, this is a fool's errand. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why would he want her to do it, and why would she want to do it?
Great questions.
And
because Jeremiah gave them all earpieces in that finale. No offense to Jeremiah. He's a great producer. You made some of the best television of your life. I mean, it's amazing. Vanderpump Rules will go down in history, but they were scrounging. He goes, Schwartz, push push Joe towards Katie right now. We need something. Like, it's just, it makes no sense.
No.
It doesn't make sense why Joe is there.
No.
It doesn't make sense why Schwartz would be advocating. He never pushes people to go talk to people like that.
Yeah. It was
Hey, do you
wild.
want to go be made to cry by Katie?
She's going to rip you a new asshole.
Also, there was some weird, this scene was so chaotic and such a mess because they invited a bunch of fans to film them all while this finale was going on. But like when Allie comes over to Joe, she goes, can you go get us champagne, Schwartz? Because at one point she goes, because I'm kind of scared to see, and then she doesn't say what it was. I was like, damn, what did Allie and Joe not want to go see potentially? And Schwartz
Maybe
had to
that
get drinks.
weird guy was over there at the time.
I think he was.
So then when Joe and him approach the couch, Brad goes, here comes my favorite cracked out person.
I said to myself, even Brad speaks that way about Joe.
He's one of the girls.
And then he got up. He let
Yeah,
the
he
scene.
left.
He said he let the scene go, which I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'll say
He does mind his business.
that's a very good. That's a very good pro for Brad for sure. He knew when to get out of a scene and not like try to poke his head in at a very active conversation. He left.
Yeah,
So
and then
I'll
I
give him-
think Allie took his seat eventually.
I know. I think
She was
Allie.
like, I want a piece of this.
That's definitely what it was.
So yeah, this misguided fool's errand.
Schwartz, he gets her to the ring or whatever, the little VIP area, and she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Come on, Joe, sit down next to her."
Is there something you wanted to say?
Schwartz has never acted like that.
It's hell.
The fact that Schwartz is doing producer hat shit tells you
That
something
is
is
bad.
deeply wrong.
Yeah, he's never gonna take.
and he's not good
reins.
at it. I mean, no offense to him. He's been so compelling and entertaining on his own that he's never had to do stuff like this. That's a true testament to him. But when he does it, it flops.
Yeah. So Joe's like, I just wanted to say I'm sorry if I ever heard you, and Katie's like, sorry if.
Yep.
Like she's already about to cut her head off. She's like, the whole thing. She's like, it's weird. You're weird. And Lala's like, okay. Like you don't need to go there.
Right.
She's doing a decent job at mediating, honestly, Lala. She's being
She
a
really
good
did.
middle ground.
She really was. She says, "Don't go too far, Katie," but also she fully translates Katie's very hateful speech to make it work. No, sorry, is hateful speech? I mean, filled with rage.
Yeah.
Speech filled with rage. Lala really gets to the core of what it is, and anybody should understand. Come on, Joe.
Yeah.
We know what we're talking about here, right? You texted Katie, blessings. Bieber loves you. I love you. Bieber will always love you. And then you texted Tom Schwartz, whatever, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks
Yeah.
later, and said, "Can I couch surf and start fucking you?"
Yeah. No, I was trying to. It's such a bizarre circumstance that I kept having to put it in my mind as what would that even look like in real life? Like it would just be so weird and confusing.
What Joe did?
Yeah. Like you'd be like,
Yeah.
who the fuck are you? Like what is happening?
Like, what happened? You did what?
Right.
And all they can say to justify it is it was actually 6 weeks after or whatever. It's like,
Right.
it's still bad. You know it's
Yeah.
bad.
I
Come
know
on.
because it's just very strange because it's like Joe's allowed to do whatever she wants because she wasn't even friends with Katie in the first place. So if she just would have never said anything,
Right.
it would have been irrelevant.
Well, friends enough to where she thought Katie needed a reach out text from her in a moment
Right.
of need. And also what Katie said, Katie was amidst, the most rage anybody can ever cultivate
There
in a
was
human being.
vein in the forehead.
Yeah. But she also said, you knew I was untangling my life from this person. You knew
Yeah.
what you were doing. And also, I can't help but feel that you always wanted to fuck my husband. And the minute that you could, you did it. It's like,
Yeah, I mean for sure. Obviously.
yes, obviously. It's like, there's no other side
I
to
was
this.
couch surfing.
Yeah, like what the like what the hell are you talking about? I love this Katie rage. It reminded me of Fury and Sir Allie from last year. I was
Yeah.
like, Katie pointed in the right direction, mad at the right thing. And I'm not a Joe hater.
Yeah.
I'm just like Schwartz needs to be blamed for this.
It was
You
ridiculous.
pushed Joe into a scene where the flames of hell were going to lick Joe's face.
Find somewhere else to stay next time.
Yeah, seriously. And so it's Schwartz's fault. Joe didn't need to do this scene. She never would have done it. He had producer hat. She felt the flames of hell and she cried.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, Katie made Joe cry. This could have been avoided.
Yeah.
And this is why Joe probably will never want to be on the cast of Vanderpump Rules and probably shouldn't be on the cast of Vanderpump Rules ever again.
I love how she was like, find somewhere else to stay next time. And Joe was like, no, I won't. And she's like, you're a liar. And Joe's like, just let him go.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of interesting though, like, because of how mad she is, you are like, whoa, like, I feel like because her stance after the divorce was almost immediately the public facing stance was that like he's a moron and that like she's never been better and that like she's hot and like getting laid and like he's such an idiot and like
Right.
what a mistake and all of this. You're like, no, like she was devastated. Like it was really sad. And I'm like, I
yeah.
wish that we would talk about that more, which I know we talked about a year ago on the deleted scene, whatever they call that.
Yeah, when the Breaking Bubba's house scene where he was
Yeah.
like, "Can I get you sushi?" Even
And
though
it
we're
was
broken
like
up.
a sad, sweet thing. And I do feel like that's something that's constantly missing. And whenever we have camaraderie between Katie and Schwartz, you're reminded of it. And then when you have rage on her end about another woman and him, it reminds you that like she obviously really cared. And I wish that that was represented more, because I feel like that's a missing piece to her being fleshed out as a character, that
Katie.
Yeah, that like makes her more interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, put more scenes of Schwartz and Katie's, navigation of their post breakup friendship, which they did a lot of. But yeah, I mean, this scene showed me what like Katie's power again. Like, this was great.
And he's like, she just came over to make peace, and she's like, I don't want peace.
Yeah, I loved it. That was another iconic line.
Yeah, and then she tells him to keep it away from her.
Yeah, that was great. And I mean, I guess Schwartz got what he wanted, and Jeremiah got what he wanted. You know, I mean, like, that's what they wanted, right? They wanted Joe to just get fully berated by Katie.
Which now Joe's going to run to the bank forever saying that she was bullied and, treated like shit or whatever.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's just that was sort of a highlight, but it's just in such the muck of this like shitty episode that it barely brought me joy, to be honest.
Yeah. Everything was like a jump scare on this. So like after this, it's like Sandoval, Sheena, Lala, and Kyle just standing around being like, this is great. And then Brock comes over and Sandoval's like, I heard you stuck up for me at lunch. I just wanted to thank you, man. And I was like, ugh! It feels like, I don't know, like Robert Durst being like, heard you said some nice things about me. Like, it's just like, ugh, like, don't involve me with this.
Did it give you that?
It just felt like smarmy, like, just like, you're like, every time he popped up from this point forward, I like screamed. Like, I mean,
me too.
Later, when Ariana and Sheena are talking and he appears, I literally screamed. Like, I was like, ow!
Yeah, they made a jump scare of him. All of a sudden, Sheena and Ariana are having the most beautiful moment between two friends, and then his arm leaps into the frame, and then he goes, Sheena.
Like, I feel like the tension, everyone was like out of their mind with the countdown clock of being like, the Titanic door is closing. Anything you want to say has to happen in the next 60 minutes.
That's what it was. The Titanic was Kyle Chan's whiskey party in the middle of Alcatraz, and they knew they had a 60-minute countdown to get all of the entertainment of this season in one episode.
And it was scary to watch. But like it's just more of the same. Like, Brock's like, it almost felt like a some weird fucked up agreement where Brock was like, you're there for us, we'll be there for you. I was like, is this like the mafia? What is happening?
He's like, if you give a gift, if I get a gift for you, like rose petals and champagne in your room, you get a gift for me. Sound system for Sheena. It's like they turned friendship into favors for each other. It's like they have no other way to describe what the hell is going on in this toxic friendship between them all.
Yeah. And Sheena reiterates that she can't do this anymore of like trying to be loyal to one side. She said she's losing herself in this battle and she can't do it. Then Ariana, this is when she reveals they're thinking about going to Applebee's after the party.
Did you want to talk a little bit? I mean, what? I think we have to say it because it's one of the final lines in what could have been the series finale of Vanderpump Rules. What's going on with this Applebee's energy? I mean, I would ask if we had 5 minutes with Ariana to come on Turtle Time. I would ask her one question: what prompted this Applebee's fervor?
Yeah.
What did you all get? Why did you want to talk about it a lot? What they even talk about it like it's their new secret fun thing that they all love.
Do you know what movie features Applebee's?
Oh, yes. Can I say it? I think Talladega Nights.
Oh, I was going to say Challengers. There's
really?
a sexy scene at Applebee's.
Are you kidding?
I'm totally dead serious.
What do they do at it? Wait, is Applebee's throwing out a bunch of darts into the pop culture universe and seeing what sticks?
Maybe. Challengers partly takes place in the past. And
when Applebee's was at its height?
Yeah. It's like when they're sitting, Zendaya and Mike Feist are sitting in booth a booth. I'm not super familiar with Applebee's. It wasn't one of my local chains. It was Chili's for me.
Oh, me too.
Okay. But it seems like Applebee's is quite recognizable. Like similar style.
Alligator
that, like, Roadhouse.
Alligator heads, motorcycle helmets,
Yeah.
like high school diplomas.
Like all kinds of shit on the wall.
Yeah, like trophies.
But like they're having a little tete-a-tete at Applebee's, but it doesn't say it's Applebee's.
Oh.
And then afterwards, there's a little rendezvous in the parking lot.
Whoa.
And something happens. They cut to the building, and it just straight up says Applebee's.
Whoa.
Because I've seen it twice now.
So you did?
Yeah.
Was it as good the second time?
Yeah.
Did you get just as horny?
Yes.
Good.
Well, sure.
Okay, good. Well, sorry, but just because I said it, the Talladega Nights, I'm almost positive. Remind
Yeah,
me, Villa
that
Roosevelt
sounds
piece.
right.
I think that there's like a 5-minute scene commercial in the middle of Talladega Nights where they just talk about how good Applebee's is, and they're all remarking on the food and how much they love the environment of Applebee's, and it's a full commercial
That
within the movie.
sounds right.
Yeah.
I'm due to rewatch that, I think.
Okay, me too.
Well, anyways, yeah, I don't know. It felt like it was kind of strange.
With the Applebee's stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, if Applebee's didn't pay you all to do that, like you just gave Applebee's one of the greatest gifts it's had in years.
I
Since
didn't check if
the Dollaritas.
Did they do anything with that?
Well, they commented on my TikTok. I said that
They
there's a
did?
huge war. Yeah, I said there's a huge. This is true. I'm going to caveat things are true now. I said there's a huge war brewing between Chili's and Applebee's because obviously we know Katie and Sheena are diehard Chili's heads.
Yeah.
And then if Brad and Dan and Ariana are loyal to Applebee's, what the hell's going on here? We're a cast divide or a fan base divided between these two fast casual restaurants, and Applebee's commented on it.
What'd they say?
They put the apple emoji, 2 B's emoji, the greater than sign emoji, and then the chili emoji on my thing.
I love that.
So you do.
Their person is on top of the game.
So I honestly think that both Chili's and Applebee's got a very similar social media manager that is very much entrenched in
It's
pop
probably
culture.
the same account, like the same agency that runs both.
I think so too.
But that would be slay if they gave Ariana a campaign and it like kind of zinged at the Chili's campaign.
I mean,
And she like kicks over a martini, like a espresso martini, and has something else.
I mean, wasn't this that? I mean,
but it hadn't happened yet.
I know, but I think were they gearing up for in 6 months she was going to get the Applebee's contract? I mean, this is a ridiculous amount of naming Applebee's. I
mean, she should be doing that because all of her deals are so all over the place. Like, there's just so many that she should just start planting seeds that are obvious choices for people to give her like 50 grand or whatever.
Yeah, but she might have a non-compete because she already got that Jack in the Box money when she said, or Red Robin money when she said,
right.
Let's eat a burger-tini or whatever.
Right.
I remember it was ground beef.
And then the Raisin Canes too.
Yeah, so there might be, well, I don't know. Maybe if she has a wonderful agent, which I know she does, she probably doesn't sign any non-competes and she can just advertise to anyone in the world.
She could throw an espresso martini in a Glad bag.
Yeah, and just do
it out.
full. That's amazing. Well, we talked about Applebee's a good amount.
Okay, so speak of jump scare.
So are we at the scene? Tell me, please. Are we at the scene when Ariana and Sheena embrace and it's sweet? Are we?
No,
at that
this
yet?
is when Sandoval introduces himself to Dan without.
That happens before the Ariana?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was bad too. That was really bad.
I screamed like 4 different times. He's like, he like gets in because Schwartz is over there, and then he just comes over because Ariana's on her phone looking at the Applebee's menu or whatever, and then Dan is like has to endure Sandoval being like, hey, I hear you're a great guy, I just wanted to introduce myself, and it's like so hard to watch, and he just goes like, he's like, nice to meet you, and he's like, yeah, you too. Like, he's polite. He barely says anything. He's just like, okay, whatever. Luckily, they don't like touch. Like, he doesn't try to shake his hand or anything.
No.
And he immediately leaves. But then he lurks nearby, like 2 feet away, with Schwartz debating if it's the time that he should apologize for weaponizing her mental health. And Schwartz is like, I think we should go. I don't think this is a good time. I don't think you should.
He's so nervous, and everyone is so nervous about this Sandoval and Dan confrontation.
Yeah.
And it felt obviously so unnatural, because why in the world would Sandoval ever have to say anything to Ariana's new boyfriend?
Yeah, that's what Allie is like. I guess it was bound to happen, like needed to happen sometime. And Ariana was like, no, it never needed to happen because he's not in my life. So like, why would they ever meet?
Yeah, and then that's when Ariana, I think, says a very pivotal line to the rest of the finale, which, you know, you can agree with or you cannot agree with, but it's pivotal. She says, I am not a cog in the machine of Tom Sandoval's redemption arc. And I'm kind of like, I mean, that's a mic drop moment in a way.
She said, you guys can do that without me. And it felt pointed towards the production crew.
She looked right at Jeremiah in the eyes when she said it. You could see her gaze go to where Jeremiah was. It's true. I mean, to me, in my opinion, that is the problem with the season 2, that you are expecting Ariana to give this person redemption possibly in the audience's eyes.
Yeah.
If he has a conversation with you, she's not going to give it to you.
Which they should have known she would never do, because we just watched Kristen's redemption arc on season 4.
Right.
And she apologizes to Ariana in a sincere way and is trying to make her way back into the group. And Ariana's like, I would literally rather slit my throat than talk to you again, you piece of fucking shit. Like, she's not one, whatever her zodiac is or whatever.
Yeah. What do you
forgiveness
think?
Is not one of the things.
Jeremiah, he must have forgot that scene. He should probably go to the Turtle Time Patreon and become a Villa Rosa VIP. We're right at that spot.
It would benefit the new show.
He can get familiarized with the past of Vanderpump Rules. But I do think that when Ariana puts that in my mind, or while I was watching it, when she says it, it's like, oh, damn. She's like, he's only doing this for the audience. He doesn't give a shit about me. You know, that's the final boss stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And it did put everything he did, it put it in perspective and made everything he was doing seem really lame.
Yeah, for sure. I think this was just this is the crazy guy moment that's only in the extended cut. And also James is DJing, which was only in the extended cut.
Yeah. So this, I'm just going to say it. I know it's mean, but this deranged person got into the VIP booth with them and started drinking their alcohol, sitting in their seat. Everyone is worried and scared. At one point they say, Brock, can you please ask... Oh, no, he's dancing first. Sorry.
Yeah.
Before he went in the VIP area, he's dancing on Lala and dancing on Allie. And Lala rightfully says, I don't want to be anywhere near this person.
She was the most bothered. She clocked him quickly.
I realize I'm exactly like Lala in that instance. If I saw somebody doing that to my group of friends or whatever, I would say instantly get this man out of here.
I saw her on, she was on like Jeff Lewis's podcast or whatever. And she revealed that she has like armed surveillance crews by her house multiple times a day.
Wow. So why?
She's sensitive to these threats.
So in case more fans decide to peek in her window. Okay, I mean, this definitely peels back the fourth wall for me. This is like what they have to deal with all the time in every scene. And we know this. We've been to the restaurant when they're doing this. In every scene, there is a potential for some person to try to get in a scene, get on camera. Everyone is looking at you. It really breaks the fourth wall, but this is the biggest fourth wall break you could ever have by having a fan have a meltdown in front of everyone.
Watching it now, seeing what actually happened, it is kind of so sad that they had to use that in the trailer to like spice it up, even though it had nothing to do with anything.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, whoa, you really teased the shit out of that thing, and then it wasn't even in the cut that I watched, the broadcast cut.
Yeah, it's like it had nothing to do. I assumed originally when we saw it over the summer or whatever that it was a rogue agent taking revenge on Sandoval, but it turns out it was just that he was getting kicked out and he was throwing a fit.
Yeah, he threw a fit. Brock does a really great sort of Roadhouse move to get him out of the VIP section. He goes, hey, I'm going to sit in that seat. Can you get the hell out of it?
Thanks,
it's like,
brother.
Yeah, thanks, brother. And it's very nice and calm. It's like, that was the perfect, whatever, Dalton in Roadhouse. It was like, okay, you got him out of there.
Yeah.
Then though, the security, I think James is like, hey, there's a guy we're all worried about. Please get him out of here. And then Lala and Katie are still peeking at him. They're like watching what this fan is doing. And then that's when the cameras turn over and you see he's screaming. What is he doing? Screaming and running because the security guard was rightfully kicking him out, right?
He like grabbed a flower vase off the table and threw it at the security guard's like face.
And it smashed fully in his face and sent shards everywhere throughout Kyle Chan's whiskey party opening.
It was crazy.
And then it's pure chaos. There's that. There's the chair moment, which we saw. It's at this point, it's pure chaos, but he grabs a chair. He's wanting to fling it around. This is when Sandoval goes, please stop. No, please.
Grabs the chair.
He grabs the chair. And then finally, this other security person, the other guy's kind of phased because he just got a full-blown glass vase in his face. The other guy comes and does this perfect security guard move where you do this like sort of cage
He, like,
around
hugged
someone.
him from behind.
Hugged him and just pushed him out like a freight train out of there.
Yeah.
And then what do you think happened for 20 minutes? Did they clean up the shards of glass and say, everybody,
I'm sure
so
it was total
sorry?
chaos. But yeah, that was an interesting. I feel like the fact that Sandoval put himself in the line of fire, I'm not even giving him like compliments for that. It's just like such a clear indicator of his personality that he takes sort of ownership of events always. Like he's like the unofficial, host in a way where he's just like, this is my problem. Whereas I'd be like, I'm not fucking getting anywhere near that shit.
Yeah, I had totally. I had a very neutral to positive view of that. I didn't really give him that much credit. It was like, you were kind of close and it's cool. I mean, you did confront the fan and try to get him to stop. Like I was proud of him, but it's not like I had Sandoval redeemed through that,
No.
which I thought could have potentially happened maybe.
Right. Okay, so then we get to Sheena's performance. We kind of already talked about some of this, but like Sandoval is like tapping his toe.
And he's tapping his toe. He goes, well, Sheena, you did it again. Your music career is off like a rocket. I love you so much. Did you hear how good the sound was? Does anybody need water? Here's a bunch of waters. And he brings like 8 waters and goes, here, have water. It's like, Sandoval, come on. I know you love giving gifts, but like it's not a huge deal that you're bringing everyone waters. You don't need to make it a big deal that you brought 8 waters over to the 27s or whatever.
On
that
the
band.
after show, they showed the clip of him at Jax's wedding where he's like, I even brought tampons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It makes me suspicious now of all of these gift giving things. Like you ruined the one thing that I actually had always viewed you as being a great person through doing those acts, and now it's like I'm suspicious of you. Do you just do that because you want people to think you're a good person?
Right. So this like backstage thing post the show was like, I was kind of like dumbfounded.
Tell me, please. What I think dumbfounded is definitely one of the 4 emotions I have while we're talking about this. I mean,
my brain sizzled.
Like
Sheena's lost her fucking mind.
I agree. I mean, are you talking about when she says, did I have a dream and wake up? Is that what you're talking about? I was like, I said to myself again, I was alone, and I said, is Sheena quoting Almost Famous? It made no sense what she was saying, and I thought that she was almost like doing an Almost Famous
Well, that wouldn't
scene.
be a shocker for her.
No, right. That's why I'm like, are you alluding to like your history and we were all going to get this inside joke? Because I didn't understand what the hell she was talking about. She goes, did I dream this or is it true? This is what you're talking about, right? Am I in a band? Is that what she said?
Yeah. She goes, am I in a band with you guys? It was like
and what did they say?
Wizard of Oz moment. They were like,
wait, do you mean like, you said tapping
you
toes
were there,
earlier.
and you were there. My whole band was there. I'm in a band in real life. And they were like, you're in a band.
Whoa, wait, yeah, that was the energy for sure. But I didn't even, I honestly, I don't even think I wrote this down because I didn't understand at all what was happening. I was just, that was, to me, now that you put it into perspective, it was a very weird way to put this cap on a storyline that she wanted to have, which is she's a member now of a rock band called the 27s or whatever.
Yeah. Well, do you want to know my immediate thought was, because right before that she goes, Tom stepped up and helped us out. Like she complimented him again.
Right.
Then he was backstage, was like, he brings the waters over when they're talking about, they're like, we're in a band. Like we're all in a band. And he goes, did I hear you're in a band? And she's like, I'm in a band and we should totally go on tour or whatever. And I was like, she's going to fucking go on a tour with Sandoval.
I was just thinking that. Or I was just going to think, what if he had said, do you need another lead singer?
Like a twofer, like that's almost undeniable to Vanderpump fans, even though everyone hates their guts.
Oh.
You have to go. Like there's no way out of it.
If it was Sheena opening up for Sandoval, or are you saying
Co-headliner?
Co-headliner, of course, co-headliner. Or is it Tom Sandoval and the 27 most extra people?
Battle of the Bands?
What's Battle of the Bands?
Like on stage at the same time?
Any of these options, Vanderpump Rules fans are going to be mad about, but they're going to have to get their asses to the Canyon
Like,
Club to see.
God damn it.
God damn it, I got to go to the Canyon Club again.
Have to get completely blackout.
Yeah. Whatever. We talked about that. Oh, I also was just as confused by that scene. It felt like I was like, Sheena, what the hell is going on? You said it best.
Her acting is garbage. So
and I feel,
every time she has to do something that's completely fake, it's extremely obvious.
Yeah, that was I truly an issue for me. I was like, I've never seen Sheena act before, because usually her scenes I feel are more authentic to her true self, but she's acting her ass off in this.
Yeah. So then, that happens. Again, that was only in the extended, I believe. And then Ariana's like, I need to go find Sheena and give her a hug. And she finds her, she hugs her, tells her she killed it. Then Sheena's like, so Tom sound guy, such and such? And Ariana's immediately like, I have no idea who that is. Like, no, like immediately disinterested.
And bracing herself for what Sheena is about to say.
And she's like, I'm just saying, I really think he's changing for the better, blah, blah, blah. He's on like this journey of growth. And she just goes, do me a favor. Don't talk to me about his journey of growth or whatever. That's my ex-boyfriend. He doesn't deserve to be in my presence, whatever. And she's like, no, I thought that like I told him that he should apologize to you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't want him to talk to me ever again. She's like, no, but remember when you were saying like he apologized to me and you were like, will I ever get an apology? She's like, I didn't mean I actually wanted him to apologize. I more meant like, will he ever get it?
Yes. Totally.
And she's like, she has to cut her off. Finally, after like 3 misinterpretations, she's like, I don't want to talk to him ever again. And Sheena's like, okay, like the end. Like, I won't try a different way in.
Right. This was the last one, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, Sheena says, I'm so worried, that I'm going to lose you, and I don't want to lose you no matter what my relationship is with Sandoval, but I just can't write him off forever. Yeah. And then she says, but I'm so worried about losing you. And then Ariana says, you would never lose me. But then I felt like the editors,
they did a montage to au contraire.
They did an au contraire where they, almost, if you were an Ariana absolute hater, you could almost say this is like a villain edit to say that Ariana has been saying all season that she would completely write off anybody. So obviously Sheena would be approaching this with trepidation.
Yeah.
And Ariana is actually not following through with that threat that she made to multiple people throughout the season. Mm-hmm. And why wouldn't Sheena have that fear a little bit? Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's so silly kind of to, because it's the kind of thing where it's like, you're just gonna have to fuck around and find out. Like, she can't put true limitations. You're just gonna have to see what happens, how she feels in a little while, how close you get with him or not. Like, it's gonna be ever changing. So you can't just say like, if she's like, if you talk to him, I'll cut you out. It's like, no, it's like, we'll see how far you push it, and I'll see how I feel.
That's right. This needs to actually happen before you have to have all these conversations about what it's going to mean for your friendship.
Yeah.
But then it is, Ariana and Sheena have another beautiful moment together. They kiss. Ariana says, I love you. We're both worriers, so never worry again. We love each other so much, Sheena. We're family. And it's like, okay, that's what Sheena needed to hear from Ariana. Ariana gave it to her. Okay, that is the end of a storyline. That was good. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But then who else wanted a little piece?
Read.
all of a sudden, there's one of the potted plants that was right next to Sheena, and Sandoval jumps out of it.
Spaghetti.
He did a total spaghetti. And he goes, Sheena, great job on the performance. Ariana. The way they cut that to where they didn't have any wide shot to where you could have seen, they wanted it to be scary when he came in.
No, I've never been like more afraid. I was like, absolutely not.
That's why I don't buy the Sandoval redemption edit that people say this is the case where you could say maybe it was, but Sandoval has actively looked worse to me this entire season, so there's no way the editors were trying to make him look better. It's
like they gave him the rope to hang himself.
Yes, totally. They allowed him to showcase himself, and what he did with that time was make everybody hate him even more.
Right. So Ariana just immediately was like, fuck no. She just leaves immediately.
And I assume, now that we're here towards the end, this is the final moments, I assume that Ariana said, I am walking away and camera's down. I'm out if Sandoval tries to have a scene with me. I am not having the finale be about me and Tom's relationship and having it depend on our final blowout.
Right. Yeah. So he spends like a good, I don't know, 10 seconds trying to go after her. He's like, Ariana. And Sheena's like, just stop. She's like, Tom, like, abort. Like, she made it very clear. Like, don't fucking bother.
It was giving total abort. It really was. Sheena's like, don't do it. Please. And also, Sheena, you gave him this advice.
I know. You should have. She didn't have time.
No, she didn't. He went for it.
Yeah.
It's totally. Now that you said the Titanic analogy, seriously, that was like the band started playing when the life rafts are going out. Yeah. And Santa was like, now, I gotta go now.
Yeah. So
he's kind of like what's Rose's husband's name?
Cal. Yeah, he is. He's like running around in tuxedo, like screaming.
And then Ariana goes back to where production headquarters is, and she goes, this is not happening. And then this is when Jeremiah decides that he's a cat. Well, it's not his fault, but he's in it for the rest of the finale. Yeah. He goes, Ariana, seriously, don't do this. It's like, what?
I know. This was like what she says next after this. I was like, oh fuck. Oh. She pulled out the biggest guns imaginable, which is like the darkest version of like what getting cheated on means, where she said, he doesn't care if I die in a ditch, if I catch a deadly STD the way he was fucking around behind my back. That is non-informed consent, which like I think I brought up back in the day when I like, during this whole thing, where I'm like, when you really like, if you really want to get pissed off about what happened, or like because when you think about cheating, it's kind of in like vague terms, and it's more like an emotional betrayal. But when you think about like a dirty dick, that's when I get so outraged, because you're like, who knows who the fuck else Rachel was fucking at the time? And like, yeah, he's just double dipping, and she thinks she's with her partner of 10 years. I assume they don't use condoms anymore. Like most people don't. So that's disgusting.
Yeah. It's an open and shut case in terms of in favor of Ariana.
Of course. I mean, that's always the case. But like, I think that like the waters get muddied just in the language of like an affair. Like it just feels very like,
no, I get it.
Everyone has an affair. You know what I mean? But like when she put it in those terms, you're like, I mean, God.
But yes, but also in this scene, she gives us an amazing scene. Her screaming that fucking dead in the ditch and his dirty dick and all that shit she told Jeremiah right to his face. That's a fucking amazing scene. And Ariana gave you that. The Ariana haters. What the hell? She just screamed in Jeremiah's face about how she's not going to fucking bend to his will for the finale that he wants. It was so powerful and amazing to me.
She said that on the after show. I think it's Jeremiah asking the questions also on the after show. Oh. And she goes, what was a better finale? Tom Sandoval crying for the 100th time on Vanderpump Rules, or a dramatic exit?
I know what I would take. The Applebee's exit.
Yeah, and then Sheena and Tom are, talking on the other side. She's like, don't even bother. She thinks you're performative. She thinks I'm an idiot. And he says something that doesn't even make sense. He goes, you know what's funny? She knows me better than to know I'm not. And I was like, then that you're an idiot? or like performative? Like everyone knows you're performative. What the fuck are you talking about?
He said, yeah, she knows me well enough to know that I'm not. And it's like, well, yeah, first of all, being extra or whatever and being outlandish is a part of your character. But he's saying that Ariana knows that he truly does love everyone and he's acting out of his pure heart during all of the scenes, which is not something I think she would ever back up.
Right. And then she's like, don't make me look like a fucking idiot, Tom. It was like very soap.
It was.
Like,
and
okay.
Sheena wanted another little piece of this scene of Sandoval. She's like, if he's here, I'll just make this about our relationship again. She's like, let's talk about it again. And she goes, do you love me because of us filming or because of life? And I think Sandoval offers the worst rationale for his friendship with Sheena I've ever heard in my life. It's like the worst Sandoval has ever been in his life in terms of trying to justify himself. He goes, no, I'm there. I show up, you know?
She goes, what do I mean to you? And he goes, you mean a lot. I was like, care to expand?
I was like, wait, people should watch that scene again because I was really struck by how low energy. I mean, he did just fight off a guy with a chair that was throwing bottles and vases at his head, but still the lack of energy that Sandoval has to even try to keep up the ruse that he loves Sheena so much is worth watching again, for sure. Then Sandoval goes on a tirade. This is when he can't believe that he just got called performative, which is his nature. He goes, this is fucking bullshit.
He's like, Billy Lee, Ariana's performative.
And guess what? She hates all of you. She hates you.
Fuck off saying I'm performative.
She hates you, Billy Lee. And she hates Jeremiah. And she hates that fan that's taking a photo of me. He's like,
again, I don't think that it's worth, it doesn't like get him anything, but I believe that in, bedtime talk, she was like, these people are fucking losers. I hate this. I want to quit so bad.
You know what was whispered on the pillow when the dawn arose and they were saying, I love you? Ariana whispered to Sandoval, I fucking hate Lala. You know that happened.
Sheena sucks.
I would say caveat that. Sheena is being shitty right now.
Sure. But she's like, if we didn't have this goddamn mortgage, I would be living on a ranch or some shit. Yeah. I hate this garbage lifestyle we've created that we can never leave. He's like, I want to break up so fucking bad. And she's like, no. She's like, we're shoehorned in. There's no way out.
Yeah. He goes, she goes, she doesn't like any of you fuckers. She can fuck off. And then Jeremiah his last ditch effort to get Ariana to not go to Applebee's. He's like, don't end like this. And then Ariana seriously, don't end like this, he says. Like, he means, like you said, the Titanic is about to sink. It's fully upright. It's standing on its edge. It's about when the boat is going to break in half.
Yeah.
Don't end like this. And she goes, it's about the audience. He wants 30 seconds with the audience. And he goes, whatever. And then in the confessional, she's like, whatever Tom is trying to get from me, it's not for me. It's for him. I am the final boss in the video game of his redemption. And because he can't get to the final boss, he's fucking pissed. Then cut to him going, she's fucking performative. And it's true. This is it.
If you don't want to film with your ex, don't be on the show. Don't sit back on your lazy ass and collect a check for doing nothing.
And I know people say she's lazy because she had that takeout food in her room, but look at what the fuck Ariana's doing. No offense. Even if you hate Ariana, right? I mean, she's not.
Okay, here's the thing that is my main takeaway from this last segment.
Yes.
Is like, it makes him go insane. It makes Lala go insane. Sheena's even like, Lala, I completely get where you're coming from. Jeremiah's going insane. Like, the episode is called Plot Twist because that's what Short says at the end, which we'll get into further. But am I nuts that I didn't think it was a big deal or a problem for her to leave?
No.
Like, that's not unheard of.
No.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, if she left, like, the reunion and never came back, like, that would be crazy. Like, something like that where, like, I mean, people walk off of the reunion all the time, but they always come back except for Sutton, her medical event.
Oh,
but, like,
God.
I was, like, storming out. I was, like, it was the end of I mean, obviously they framed it to be the end, but like, I was like, she was there like the whole time. Like, what's the fucking big deal? Like, until it kept unfolding that it was such an outrage, I was like, so what?
Yeah, no, there was no plot twist. Ariana did exactly what she probably told you all she was going to do.
Yes.
There is no plot twist here. That, calling it that, and having this look like the series finale and all that shit is just to give this very bad finale a little bit of juice.
Yeah. And it's also like, you know, I don't know. It feels I I don't even know how to talk about it because it's like she was in every episode.
No, right.
Like she was forced to go to most things. Even though she didn't like fuck with him, she didn't like they never had a heart to heart, but like she was there.
He got to scream at her. She got to scream at him. We already saw confrontations that I never thought I would see. That's what I'm saying. It reeks of their desperation that they thought that this was like the most climactic thing that they've ever experienced in their lives, that you guys had that location until 11 p.m. and it was all riding on that. That's why I'm saying, Jeremiah, you couldn't have gotten you all to film for one more week if you thought this was absolute shit and some fan was crashing shit. Obviously, you could have filmed more if you wanted to. Like, I'm just saying, I don't understand why they put this all on Ariana. And that's how the edit starts to go on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we already talked about this. I mean, are we getting there? I mean, Lala starts to...
Yeah.
Fourth wall break. She goes, I've been biting my goddamn tongue all season, but if we can break the fourth wall right now, I'm ready to.
Yeah. She says that it's ridiculous for Ariana to refuse to film with Tom when she lives under the same roof, which is her ultimate sticking point ever.
But she said that screaming.
He didn't kill anybody. She moved on 8 days later. And Sheena's like, I have your back on that. I just want to let you know you're not alone on that island. I hear you.
But in a way, I am a little more nuanced than you. So I agree with 20% of what you're saying, but ultimately I do still love Ariana. It's like, what is happening? And then I couldn't believe that Lala's big fourth wall break that was like, she's screaming. She's going to say her piece. It's that same fucking in the same house shit that she's been saying all season. You just said that again.
Right.
You can imagine, like me, a world where Lala said, stay in that house forever until he's out of there and you force him. Start smelling up the house with rotten food and get him out of there. Like, there's totally a world where Lala would have advocated for staying within the house, right?
Yeah. I wonder if I'm trying to give her any benefit of the doubt just to understand.
Don't. But you can.
But I'm just trying to understand what the differences that she thinks between her Randall situation. Like, so on one hand, you could say the Randall situation was worse because there's a kid involved. She had to like flee with a baby, whatever.
There is.
On the other side, she knew who he was all along and she participated as a other woman in his previous relationship.
And everyone told her this was
of course. Bad. But like, so then obviously like you can say, well, I'm sure you wouldn't feel the same if Randall was brought back onto the show and you had to participate in 9 out of 10 scenes with him trying to tell his side of the story or
Jeremiah
whatever.
should have called up Randall to come to the whiskey party and just
well. He's wearing like a gold suit. He's like, I'm the angel investor for Gold Bar Whiskey.
Yeah.
Bet you didn't know that, did you?
And I still own a stake in something about her.
Yeah, he's like, back when I put in my first investment, I got the trademark.
He goes, actually, Brock, the trademark doesn't belong to Chef Penny's husband. It's actually mine. You were going to say, no, did you want to defend Lala? Because I have the alternate.
No, I don't want to defend her. I'm just
I get it. You got to speak for the other side. I get it. No, we should.
No, I mean, the big flaw in her plan is that she does try and, get ahead of it and say like, I know that I didn't share my story and it was killing me. She said it was suffocating her or whatever. And I'm like, it's just weird for her to be the one that's so outraged when she knows that she did it for like the entire time.
Well, you know what that's called? It's called being a hypocrite. And I would say the top 5 characteristics of Lala, one of them is being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
No offense to her. But I do think the alternate theory, the really nefarious, shitty version, is that Lala does not do anything on her own. And is not entertaining and compelling on her own at all, and no fans want to watch anything she does. So she thinks that all we want to see is Ariana and Tom, and she's actively mad at Ariana for not making this season better by only focusing on Sandoval and having a bunch of scenes, because she thinks that the show is going to get canceled and she's going to lose her paycheck if she doesn't make something else happen that is not authentic to her.
Right. No, it is a hard pill to swallow that she's the one making this point when not only did she not talk about the truth about Randall for all those years or whatever, but she also, we've discussed before, she sort of participates at her own will. Like, she's like, I feel like she hides behind the fact that, not hides behind, but like, she's like, I have a kid, or like, I don't drink. Like, so she gets to sort of like participate as much as she would like to.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else has to like really throw it down.
Yeah. I don't know how to say this, and I don't want to go full, bad on Lala. I'm like, there's so much other shit to talk about, but like, I just think that she's just never truly fit in properly in the Vanderpump Rules universe, and I just always feel this sort of outsider energy that I don't put my full self out there for the fans, or she's not being true to herself, and I just always think that she reeks of inauthenticity.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited. We are on the cusp, I think also one episode away on our Patreon season 4 of Hawaii, where she's like topless the whole time, which I think is maybe her best shining moment.
Yeah,
she really serves her purpose there.
Yeah, that was, for sure. We're gonna. I don't want to be too mean. Obviously, no offense to Lala. I do think Lala is like one of the funniest cast members in the world, and I think that if she was more true to what she's actually, I mean, maybe this is what she's actually feeling. I don't know, but
that's why maybe she would be better on the Valley if her life could be more integrated. Like if it was more about like moms, like she would feel more like
showcase a different side of herself and not in the sort of bar culture, drinking, whatever is going on in Vanderpump Rules. Right. I can see that. That's maybe that is ultimately the best for Lala.
Yeah. So then she says that Ariana walking away is a slap in the face, and this is what we do. And then like it intros into this montage of each of them. It's like footage of them, like BTS footage of each of them getting mic'd for their confessionals from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like young, then it's like emotional moments. It's like a 2-panel thing that shows both sides of like people crying and like, this is when she says that she was lying about her relationship, and it shows, she's like, I've seen James tell his story. I've seen Katie and Schwartz like show their heartbreak. Like it shows everyone. And I think I like went back. I was like, yeah, Ariana's not in that montage, which they very easily could have made a case for that of like, she's cried. They show her scream, I don't give a fuck about fucking Raquel or whatever. Right. But I'm like, they could have made a case for that. But what I'm curious about is that like, there's this gripe that Lala says and that Tom says that they were never honest about the true nature of their relationship. And, I know we've been talking about the fact that they were in cahoots about Miami Girl. Mm-hmm. So like, and their relationship was born out of a lie because they lied about at what point they hooked up, and then they gaslit Kristen for years. Fully born in a lie. But like, what do you think that means? So like Jax said it in the later years. He said that like, I think their relationship is a sham, or like that they don't even fuck with each other. Like he wants to get married and have kids. She doesn't. Like they are incompatible and their relationship is bad. And at the time you're like, you're a fucking hater. Like shut up. You hate everyone. Yeah. But like, what do you think that means? And do you think there's truth to it?
Well, oh man, whew, you're putting me on the spot right now. I can't believe it. I think that well, it's like how much do you believe Sandoval, one of the biggest liars in the world, versus how much do you believe Ariana, who really has not lied that I've seen that I can call her out, besides Miami Girl. I think it potentially was a sexless marriage union because Ariana has even agreed to that when she said his dirty underpants were on his head. She was like, I never went near him with a 10-foot pole. So we obviously know they never had sex. I do think that they maybe were very brand oriented at a certain point and sort of saw themselves as a brand. And maybe Ariana thought that Sandoval was more comfortable with this dynamic of being sort of like maybe like a 20-year into marriage couple or something when he was still ready to be free as a bird and still continue to, have sex and wanted to partake in partying more or whatever. She maybe was, I don't know. I mean, I'm just speculating completely, but obviously it's somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. I do want to know, like, I would like Ariana to be fully more open, maybe in season 12, if she ever decides to come back, about what does she think Sandoval saw in the relationship, and be a little more open about like what was going on from her point of view. Because I don't think she would stick by, I thought everything was beautiful and perfect up until the moment when I found out he was cheating.
Yeah, I think we also need to re-listen to that. Was it Call Her Daddy she was on or whatever? I feel like that's the most she's ever said, but she still kind of made it seem like I thought we were working through our
really
issues.
hard time.
You know
like
what I mean?
He took me out to Musso and Frank's, on Valentine's Day. Like she did things, and I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that there were signs because Sandoval had one foot out the door, but still one foot in.
Right.
So I don't know, but it's somewhere in the middle between what they were saying, I'm sure. And you're right. You already alluded to this, but they have this beautiful song where it's like supposed to be sort of nostalgic for what Vanderpump Rules was. And it's like a balloon. And they show the moments of people crying and screaming and fighting. And Lala goes, look at all of the like authenticity here. And I'm like, if this isn't the series finale and this isn't a roundup of the beauty of Vanderpump Rules, this is a testament to the authenticity of this cast. And Ariana is the first one to ever be inauthentic. Is that what the editors were trying to say with this montage?
Right.
Look at the authentic moments that all of the other cast members have had. This is the true beauty of Vanderpump Rules, and look what Ariana squandered by not being authentic, even though the authentic reaction to the situation that Ariana has is that I want this person dead and I never want to see them again, so it would actually be inauthentic to have a conversation with him.
I'm trying to think of like, so in the after show, Schwartz says there are so many times that I wanted to run, and he was like, I'm playing the montage in my mind. They showed some clips of him and Katie fighting where, he wanted to run or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of like, so we know that Sandoval ran when Miami Girls showed up. He literally sprinted down the road.
He ran his little tattooed ass off.
And I'm trying to think like of fleeing moments. And
you mean moments in which cast members fleed. It's not really
flew.
It's not really a show where people flee.
Right.
Stassi fleed.
Right, which people online keep bringing up, and I'm like, yeah, she was banished.
She
it went.
No, but she fleed. Is the past tense of flown fleed? She
fled. She
fled. Hey, we're tired. Little turtle keys. She fled. Sir, when Jack started peeking around the corner, very similar.
It's true.
Vanderpump Rules' history completely rhymes. When Jax was going dun-dun, 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 he sprung up on her and she goes, absolutely not, I'm out of here.
But her unwillingness to film with him and therefore everyone, she was almost fired.
Yeah.
So people keep using it as an example of why are you being so hard on Ariana? Stassi did it. I'm like, yeah, she was banished. She's not on season 4. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, truly. I mean, I don't understand what they're advocating for here. And I need Jeremiah or someone to say what the purpose of this montage was. I want to hear them succinctly say it. Because when you juxtapose those images with what Lala is saying about authenticity, the only way I can read it, if it's not a roundup, is that you're showing the beauty of Vanderpump Rules came from when people were compelled to talk about deep, dark shit with each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's a companion to Lala's monologue where she said, this is what we do. We bear it all. We tell our stories.
But why show us this showcase of the root beauty of Vanderpump Rules. But if it's not the end of Vanderpump Rules, like you don't just wedge in a fourth wall break montage in a finale.
Right.
We have to pause for 1 second because we're going so long. So just 1 second while I piss. Sorry, I just had to cry for a second.
So yeah, I mean,
Here's one thing I'll say to get us back on track. Lala saying this about authenticity obviously is compromised because she's the one cast member you could actively say was not authentic at all, and she even has to say that why she's a hypocrite as she says that.
Yeah.
So they should have had someone else read this, but obviously no one else would have. But it should have been Lisa.
yeah,
It should have just been Lisa for no reason in her confessional.
it should have been like the Nicole Kidman AMC thing, like, we come to this place for magic, it's where we bare our souls and tell our stories, and you cannot run from the truth.
So Jeremiah would have brought the last 10 minutes of the finale to her movie theater with Ken or whatever,
Yeah.
let her watch it, and then film her live reaction.
She sits down like Nicole Kidman, and then on the screen, instead of La La Land and Wonder Woman, it's like clips from Vanderpump Rules.
Yes. And she goes, this is what made this show so beautiful, was my authentic cast members. That's why it rings so hollow. You can't have Lala be the ambassador for authenticity.
Right.
Whoever made that decision, that's a huge flop.
Right. So, and then Ariana says in her confessional, her like closing statement is that he just wanted to do this on camera. If he actually wanted to say something to me, he would have, in the past however many months, left me a note, tried to talk to me at the house, emailed me, whatever, which he says on the either the after show or Watch What Happens that he says he's tried to talk to her at home, and she wasn't into
Right.
it, and she says that she ran into him in the house after this San Francisco event. Like, she went to the kitchen and he happened to be in the living room, which apparently doesn't happen very often, and that he didn't try to say anything.
Right.
But more importantly, I'm like, yeah, like, leave a letter. Like, I just don't understand. Like, so it recalls the Sex and the City movie to me where
Oh, yeah.
Big leaves Carrie at the altar, which is the ultimate betrayal of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And she wants no contact. He tries to email her, and she has her assistant, Jennifer Hudson, block his email. And she goes, can you put them in a folder someplace where I never have to see them again?
Yes.
And it turns out the password is love. And
Yeah.
she finally sees that he had been emailing her every day the whole time, these love letters or whatever. And I'm like, like, if he like actually like realized what he had done and like cared about her, I feel like, to me, like, if you really felt bad and like needed to be absolved or like let her know how bad you feel, you would have to express that somehow, like,
Yes.
in a letter, in an email, in a something, just to like get it all out on paper. Whether or not she would have even read it, I don't know. But like, obviously, like, if she sees you in person, she's like revolted and like, get away from me. But like, yeah, you've been in a shared house for like at least 3 months, if not like 4 or 5 at that point. And like, you never like wanted to just like, all your journaling and all of your self-help shit that you've been doing, at no point did you want to like pen a letter that said like soul searching, like what mental break made you betray her that way, and like how bad you feel. Like, that is like maybe like the only thing you could do.
Yeah.
That I would imagine, it feels like impossible that you wouldn't need to do that,
Right.
which is
right.
a mark against him,
And-
obviously.
Yes. And that's what she says. And she said, if it's only going to be on camera, then you just showed your true colors. And I will say, in defense of production and the editing, you wouldn't include Ariana's knockout punch at the very end of the episode if you wanted to make her look bad. Because as we're talking about this, we're fully rallying to Ariana's side.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to do her in injustice and make the fans revolt against her, you would have never included this. So
Yeah.
the fact that, like, saying it's a biased edit is not really true, because I got exactly the Ariana that I wanted to see from this.
Right.
And I think most fans saw, the powerful Ariana that we wanted to see from this.
Right. And then we get this sort of chaotic fourth wall break ending where Jeremiah's like, that's it. That's the end. And Schwartz goes, well, that was a plot twist, which what plot twist? I don't understand. Like, is it that Lala talks shit on camera? She's been talking shit the entire season, so like, who fucking cares?
I mean,
Was it that Ariana left? That's not a plot twist. We knew she would do that. And then my friend Jen said that this was giving the jinx. I
right.
killed them all, of course. Tom says, I love it. It was good for me. Which is like a fully like Joker-fied edit.
yeah.
Like it's like villainous, of course.
It's just like when Robert Durst went into the toilet and he said,
burped.
it started burping in the toilet and he goes, I killed them all, you say. What did
I killed them all, of course.
That's what he said?
Yeah.
Was he burping in a toilet?
Yeah, he burps when he lies.
Oh, that's but he wasn't in a toilet when he did it?
He was burping in the interview when they showed him that he spelled Beverly Hills incorrectly the same way that the letter that said where a dead body was
he was
spelled.
left in the room.
And he was like, burp, burp, burp. And then he was like, I need to go to the bathroom. And then he went to the bathroom. He was still mic'd. And he said, I killed them all, of course. I'm watching the sequel right now.
How is it? I was just going to
It's
ask.
fun. It's like cuckoo.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, okay. Well, we'll talk about the jinx another time. But wow, I mean, dead on. And okay, and Sandoval. Let's talk about that moment because we're winding down.
Yeah.
This is the end. You and I did our due diligence on this episode, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
So Sandoval saying, "I love it. It's good for me." He tries to negate it, and I don't even know what the hell he said on Watch What Happens Live to justify this. He said, "I just meant that."
He said that he was happy that he did his end of the bargain, that like he showed up and did his job.
So I love it. It's good for me because I did good. And it wasn't the interpretation that everyone would have, that I'm sure the editors had, which is that Ariana walking out makes me look good.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
And that's 100%. There's no even giving him the benefit of the doubt, right?
No.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And then it plays perfectly into what Ariana had been saying this entire episode. He's doing this for him. I will not be the final cog in the machine of the redemption of Tom Sandoval. And he kind of lays it out for us all right there when he's gleefully cackling that he loves that she just presumably, or in his mind, ruined the show for the audience.
Yeah. The one thing on the after show, like Lala is like, you know, again, it's beating a dead horse and she's the wrong one for it to come from. But there was one line that kind of hit me sideways in a fun way.
Okay.
She said, I mean, she was rude. She said, you know, Lala said she was offended that she left. She said, Ariana coasts through every season and we're asking you to have one conversation. You can't even do it. So I was like, we can get into that at another time if we think Ariana has coasted. If anything, I think it's more that she was like under Sandoval's wing and he's a showman and that he was a lead and she had less interest in being front and center.
Can I object, Your Honor? First of all, this is a part of it. She says no one ever had Ariana as their favorite. Nobody ever gave a fuck about Ariana. She's really laying into Ariana, saying she coasts. And that's not true, Lala. Up until before Sandoval, Ariana was my favorite cast member, top 3, and I cared about what she did, and I enjoyed her presence because she is an entertaining, funny, charismatic person, and her in scenes is a plus wherever she's at. Okay. I cannot say the same for Lala.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I want to reassess on our rewatch because I mean her initial introduction is defending and being Sandoval's wingman. Like it's her versus Kristen, right? Like that's all we've seen so far.
This is not a great era of Ariana.
I know. So I'm going to say I'm going to reassess as we move forward. Okay. But she was not one of my favorites ever.
Okay, well she was mine, and that's written in stone. Before Sandoval, I made my love of Ariana very clear because I find her. I don't care that someone tries to have a sperm party every season. I want to see compelling, funny people that are smart and entertaining to watch, like Stassi, where you just care about what they're saying and doing in every single scene. They don't need to move the plot forward. They're just fun and engaging on their own.
Sure.
That's, to me, what makes an amazing cast member.
Yeah. So the part that she said that I chuckled at was that she was like, she's like, we were just asking you to have a conversation with this guy. She goes, you know, the guy you shoved down our throats for all these years that you still live with. And that was just like a funny angle that it's like, I know that it was her partner, but it's like, it is kind of funny to think about that, like, say someone like Katie, like, she could be like, yeah, welcome to my side of the fucking table where I've been telling you he's a motherfucker this whole time. And they have to be like ready to like accept her on the other side of her realization when everyone's been like, he fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just thought that was funny.
I do too, and I get it in theory, but Sandoval was already a cast member on the show before Lala, so her analogy doesn't make any sense. She's not getting Sandoval shoved down her throat at all. If anything,
I just mean like Ariana was like ride or die the entire time, and like she gave him like eye rolls for sure, especially in the later seasons. She was more like, you're an idiot, I hate you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's something that comes to mind every now and again where it's like, it's similar to the Katie thing of like, they both so quickly went to like, what a fucking loser this guy is. What a moron.
Yeah.
I hate his guts. I don't see anything redeeming about him. And I'm like, you guys were with those men for 10 years. Obviously you liked something.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that okay. It gave voice to that concern, which I fully understand. I'm just so anti what Lala did this entire episode that like I don't even want to give her credit, but you're right. I mean, it's at least a point worth considering. And I didn't even think about it. I was just so pissed. But you're right.
Like, yeah, it's just like it's hard to like jump that quickly from being like, they're zero, I hate them, there's nothing good about them, when you were just ready to be with them forever.
Yeah, I mean,
but I guess that's how breakups go.
Well, no, I don't need to defend Ariana, but there was some pivotal thing that happened that made her reassess Sandoval.
Of course, but like a lot of it was like apparent already.
Yeah. But like this I don't want to keep talking because we're gonna die. But when Sheena keeps saying like Sheena keeps talking about how like she loves Sandoval and like, but she has trust issues with new people now because she can't trust anyone. It's like, Sandoval is the one who did that to you. You have trust issues because of Sandoval. So this, you know what I mean? It's like you're not even accounting for him. He's the reason
like
why
the chicken
you even
or the egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else was good in this after show? I mean, I was surprised that Lala was still as vocally anti-Ariana as she was. I mean, great job going out on that limb by yourself with no one to defend you, pretty much. I mean, even James was like, Lala said that? He's like, that is so Lala. I'm not coming anywhere near that sentiment.
Yeah. James was like, yeah, of course she didn't want to talk to him because she knew what he said was going to be bullshit.
Yeah.
Which is true.
I also loved when James was like, Sandoval was going to say some garbage. Also, just so you guys know, one time Sandoval tried to show bungee jumping videos of himself to Allie, and I thought, you fucking loser. I was like,
I know.
That is...
He said they were like 10 or 15-year-old videos.
I love James in that moment because it just sounded, it really painted a picture. And he's like, why the fuck do you need to talk to Allie all the time and show her these bungee jumping videos?
Yeah.
Brock was also trying to, do the same thing again where he was like, she doesn't text Sheena all the time. And, Sandoval does text or whatever. And James is like, well, she texts me all the time. She's a good friend to me.
She picks and chooses.
I guess Ariana likes some of her friends more.
Also, I don't really understand. I mean, I guess they filmed these a while ago because I think they filmed them like all at once. So I don't think they knew how much the audience was going to turn on them.
Yes.
But Sheena's like, I don't think Lala's jealous. She's built an empire herself. Like, she's a badass motherfucker. And I was like, cut to 400 comments on this clip saying like, is the empire in the room with us?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say exactly that. The words Lala and empire have never been uttered in history. It almost sounds the perfect two words in combination. It's like cellar door. Lala's empire. But no offense.
I agree, but at the same time, I will say that like Lala and Sheena are the biggest hustlers of the group. Like
Lala is one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
she's got a lot of irons in the fire.
It's kind of like a reverse hustler.
She's got the
kinda like-
podcast. She wrote a book. She did those fucking sweatshirts. I hate all that shit. I don't care.
It's kinda
she
like-
does the Amazon Live. I'm just saying, like, Katie doesn't do any of that shit at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Katie, well, okay.
Ariana, before her Scandival deals, never did anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying that they're wheeling and dealing.
Yes. For sure. We're advocating for Lala's empire.
I'm not advocating. I'm just saying it's a fact.
It is. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be so harsh against. Wait. Are you saying that when she said Lala's empire, we all laugh, but it's true she does have one?
I mean, I don't know if you need to describe it like that, but I think she did make like $250,000 being quick on her feet, making those dumbass sweatshirts.
For sure. Absolutely.
Like, she's kind of shameless in that regard.
Absolutely. She's you're right. And bringing in Katie is true. It's like Lala is doing more, actively trying to make an empire. You're right. Why am I even trying to? It did strike me as almost silly to hear those two words together. But Lala does. She has an empire, and I will. No, sorry. And and also I'm worried. Like, this whole discussion. Like, I don't want to be too harsh on Lala, because like she says, when you insult me, you take food out of my baby's mouth.
You can't do that.
You know what I mean?
Isn't that, we've discussed that's what she's going to say at the reunion?
I swear, I think we're going to have # don't take the food out of my baby's mouth. Because I think that she's going to say all of her rationale for why she's treated Ariana like shit is because you're going to take the food out of my baby's mouth by making the show shitty.
Yeah. I hate that. No, I mean, I think it's a Bobo empire, but I just mean certain people have like unlimited energy to make this opportunity worthwhile while it lasts.
Yeah, but
I feel like Ariana finally got that little bump of incentive to do things like that, and hers ended up being a much more glossy and respectable version.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Broadway.
Broadway. Of course. Yes. No, for sure. But I do want to say, just in Katie's defense, which now when I say in Katie's defense, I feel like the fans who I'm not like that. I want to say, in Katie's defense, all she does is sit on $1 million each year for the last 3 years from Vanderpump Rules. I'm just saying, like, some people, like we've
you don't
been
need to
about,
do it.
Yeah. I with Carl and Lindsay, we were saying the same thing. So I'm just. Yeah, anyway.
I mean, she chose to do the slowest return on your investment version imaginable, which we'll see how that goes. But
right, okay. For me to the 2 hours and 30 minutes mark, I feel like we've talked for about 6 hours.
I know.
I mean, we're doing okay, right?
Yes.
We are. Anything else?
I think that's basically.
I mean, I mean, it was, I really didn't want to see this. I thought that they would skip this because I thought that they would want to keep the ship in the bottle, or whatever magic is contained in a bottle, that analogy, and release it into the world at the reunion. This kind of stepped on the energy of what will ultimately be in the reunion, I thought.
Right.
I wanted to be surprised where they landed at. I didn't think they should have done this, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I was quite entertained by Sandoval and Jax on Watch What Happens Live. And I'm like, see, this is my mission statement at the end of this all, because it's all become very confusing. And I don't understand what happened either politically, socially, to TV, if it was COVID, if it was Me Too. The lines got blurred where we used to be allowed to enjoy poor behavior, which is the whole ethos and reason for this show. Every season was a new lie, a new betrayal, a new fuck up, a new poor decision, bad friends, bad girlfriends, bad boyfriends, just bad lifestyle behavior. It's the whole point. The whole point. All of a sudden, everyone decided that was no longer acceptable, and we only wish to watch people live ethical moral, well, loving relationships. And I don't want that. I want to watch two buffoons saying dumb shit, thinking they're right when they're wrong, getting caught in lies, getting divorced, cheating, drinking, coking, losing their mortgage. What are we talking about here? What show do we want to watch?
Yeah. It's perfectly said. Amy.
I want to watch someone have sex with someone else with a dying woman in the same room.
Yes. I fully concur. And in no way, when I ever say Sandoval is being a shitty human, would I ever say get him off the show right now. I would say put him in more situations so I can see more of that.
Yeah.
Fully agree. So anytime someone says, I want to see a something about her spinoff, put this full clip, what Amy said, that full 2-minute clip, and that's the turtle time answer to that comment.
I'm canceled.
No, it's true. I do not understand at all the impulse to want a beautiful show filled with people only doing good, sweet things. It's very counter to the entire Bravo ethos, and I don't think people who advocate for that actually want that. It's kind of just something to say.
Yeah.
And
it's like, if you no longer wish to participate in this toxic environment, then that's fine. You gotta go. Stassi decided that that's the way her life, it's a big loss for everyone, but she's decided, she's like, you know what? I have kids now. I actually would prefer not to live in that mess. But some people love it. Yeah. And they're pigs and shit. We will find other people that love it. We found Jesse on the Valley, who's a demon. I don't wish to respect my reality stars, or if I do, I respect them for being potentially having a personality disorder.
Yeah. We're going to insert clapping here because it is so true. And if you want a show filled with rainbows and good people running around and jumping and playing and saying nice things to each other, there are kids shows that you can watch that have that kind of dynamic. Yeah. I'll take watching the more darker side of life.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's part of the show being broken. It's partially that, but it's also that the natural dynamic of them being real friends is broken.
Yes. So
I just don't know what's going to happen.
Me neither, but but I fully agree with you. I mean, I think that could be, the end of how to think about this season of Vanderpump Rules in a way. Because a part of this is, do people no longer have a taste for bad people on television, potentially? Right. But, anyway, I fully agree with you. And so I hope Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs let us know how you feel about that. But I think it's true. Do you want to, anything else to say about Vanderpump Rules?
I think that was pretty much it. But yeah, I was just watching Tom and Jax on Watch What Happens Live. I was I think reading the comments of the clips, it was an endless fury.
Really?
People were stop trying to make this happen. Fuck you. How dare you? Producers suck. This is the show's going downhill. Flop. Ball. And I'm just what?
No, seriously. I'll insert my opinion. Jax, I've already said this. Jax is a miracle. Whether you think it's a cursed miracle upon the world, I understand. You need to see him on TV. I want to see every minute of everything he does for the rest of his life because he is a very compelling anti-hero that I love to watch. And his struggle between the dark and the light and a good person and bad person is one of the best things I've ever seen in entertainment history. He is really a living Tony Soprano.
I know. He said on Watch What Happens Live, he was I really, really need help.
Yeah.
I'm having real mental health problems.
But I was exposed. I was exposed. And Andy said, what is exposed? And he goes, I went to Australia one time and I went to a bar and everyone was saying that my therapist was at the bar and she was screaming about all of my deepest, darkest secrets.
And then we're not getting into the Valley because it's too much, but the fact he told Kristen the secret at Smokehouse and then texted her after and was like, don't repeat that. And she's like, he goes, they're not filming, are they? And she goes, of course they're fucking filming. That's what we're here for.
There's a camera right there in front of you.
And then he's like, don't repeat it. And she's like, you brought it up on camera. And then he like forgot again and like lied on Watch What Happens Live. And they like, it was.
Yeah. It's so, I mean, we've talked about Jax's magic. It is still shocking for me to behold how he operates and navigates his life. And I love every minute of it. Anything else from Watch What Happens Live? I mean, that was a great moment.
Yeah. No, the fact that he's still like losing it. He was like, being married is not easy.
Yeah, for sure that. And then Tom Sandoval had another bite at the redemption apple and fully fell on his face again.
Yeah, his girlfriend was in the audience, and I don't know, she was kind of weird. Like she said that Andy asked if anything he's done made her worried about dating him, and she said, I haven't seen the show and I intend to keep it that way. And she seemed like nervous and like freaked out.
But like she's never heard what happened.
I know. I'm like, you don't have to watch the show to know that he cheated on his girlfriend for 8 months.
Yeah, like we could tell you in about 30 seconds what he did if you want to hear about it.
Google him.
But then did you see people like us talking about this? After, like, apparently Jax and Sandoval and Victoria, is that her name, all went to like a bar and immediately they like all unfollowed each other and like they might be broken up.
But then it was like by the morning they all had refollowed or something.
Oh, okay. You know what happens?
Like, do you think they do that to just like fuck with people?
Totally. I think after Watch What Happens Live, when Bravo celebrities are all in the same ether together, they figure out how to make headlines the night after. That's what that Joe Bradley Luann thing was.
Oh, yeah?
Joe Bradley was like, Luann's here. I'm going to pretend like I kissed her or whatever and break up with Danielle. So it's just like after Watch What Happens Live in New York, everybody makes fake stories about themselves to get a day of headlines.
Yeah. Danielle said that she was at the same premiere as Luann and she ran away. She couldn't stand to see her.
Yeah, I know. It's too sad. I can't believe that Luann did that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess we can. Do you have even just 30 seconds in you to talk about what Lou said about Carl and Lindsay's relationship and how he told her on Summer House?
Yes. Just give me, please. I just need just 1 minute break if you don't mind.
Okay.
We're back.
Hey.
Can I offer a caveat to this discussion?
Yes.
So I am definitely, running on fumes. And so if I don't have anything, like if I don't say anything good and this all sucks, I just want to tell everyone why.
Okay. I feel like we can just do the top line, but essentially, we can skip Paige and Craig because we're like, whatever, they love each other. They'll get married. It's fine. Lindsay and Carl, they have a little recap at their $13,000 apartment about his, visiting his mom and stepdad.
Yeah.
And she's like, did they give you any advice? Any marriage advice? And she's all happy. And he's like, I'm trying to think. Do they give me any nuggets? I don't know.
Advice. What do you consider advice? It was he was being very nervous and elusive with this conversation.
I also think it's funny that he calls them his parents and calls Lou his dad when like his mom married him when he was like 35.
Okay, he did call Lou his dad?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. I didn't know that.
He keeps calling him his dad.
Oh, that's so sweet. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. But yeah, he's super avoiding the topic. And he's like, like happy to hear their advice, but I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah. And she goes, huh?
She's like, what do you mean do what you want to do? Like they told you not to do it?
Yeah, and he goes,
like she's trying to decipher.
Yeah, and he goes, no, I mean, not that, but, ultimately, I'm going to be the one that makes the decision. And she's like, what does that mean?
And he's like, no, I just mean, like...
in general.
He's like, they were just saying they want to make sure we're in a good place, And, you know, they know that we had some arguments. So they're asking, you know, like, why are they rushing to get married? And she goes, rushing?
Yeah. He was not rushing, obviously.
And he
Sorry,
goes,
use
let
the wrong
me
word.
try this again.
Yeah.
And it's just like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And like as he's trying to like figure out the right way to say it, she's giving him like a death stare.
Yeah. And I did I already just say, but she peeks at the camera for 1 second. Do you see that? She
Yeah.
darts her eyes towards the camera to be like, is this happening on camera right now?
Yeah. So he's fucking terrified of talking to her.
So people, though, Carl haters, you know, there are, I don't know how they're there, but they are walking among us. They'll say that this was Carl's opportunity to tell Lindsay the truth.
Yeah.
And that he is actively sort of potentially blindsiding her at this point by not revealing the truth. How do you feel about that?
I mean, he told her a few days later.
Yeah. I think I chalk this up to Carl was really not sure if he would have ever told Lindsay this in the real world. Parents say a lot of stuff, and not necessarily every conversation you have with your parent has to happen on camera where everyone in the world knows it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't ready at that point to have this very hard conversation because it wasn't going to change his mind either way at this point.
Right.
You agree with me with that?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's just was very afraid of what she would say when he told her.
Okay.
He's scared of her,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Okay, yeah. I think there's a little bit of that, but I thought I believed him when he said that at this point he was still fully prepared to marry her, and so he wasn't ready to sully the relationship with a very harsh comment from his parents saying that you need to push.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he wanted to hurt her feelings too, because you know.
But I kind of gave Lindsay a little point. I know we're pretty, we're sometimes harsh on Lindsay, but I do want to give her a point. She was very clear in that conversation. It was Carl that was really
poor communication.
Yeah, Lindsay was like, "What did they say?" And Carl did not tell her what they said.
Yeah.
And then now that she knows that there's some hesitation on Sharon's end, it kind of bleeds into the bridal shower, which
Right.
I do want to get your take on the bridal shower. I think.
I first want to say I respect Paige for just being like, no thanks.
I love it. She goes, "Excuse me, Miss Manners, but if I'm not invited to the wedding, I'm certainly not going to the bridal shower." I thought that was great.
Yeah, I loved that. She's like, no bullshit. So, I mean, I thought it was extremely awkward. The way, like, when Sharon, like, tapped Lindsay on the shoulder, Lindsay was like, what the fuck is going on? It was like very stilted and weird. And then later when she brought up to Sharon at the bridal shower that she's like, I heard you have some issues. I was like, we don't need to talk about that here.
That's how I felt as well. First of all, I thought it was egregiously rude for Lindsay to block out Sharon from that conversation with her back to her at the table where Sharon has no one else to talk to.
Yeah.
That's just rude, no matter what you heard.
And then to almost like treat her like a freak for trying to join.
Yeah, and she goes, we're just having sort of a beautiful mother and daughter conversation. Do you want to be a part of a mother-daughter conversation over here? I was like, Lindsay, I just liked you in that last scene. I thought you were clear and direct. I don't like this.
Yeah.
No matter what Sharon did to you, that's your mother-in-law. And this was rude to a degree to which I don't see very often.
Yeah.
And then again, with the conversation, like you just said, it's like not a lot of people in the world would want to have that conversation at their bridal shower.
Right.
And Sharon was absolutely taken aback and flustered,
and
just
she's
like Carl.
clearly conflict averse like her son.
Yes.
Because she was like, no. Like, she just kept hugging her to like be like, can this be over?
And she does get her point across, which is that, like, I would be worried no matter what. And I'm thinking of you, too. If things are not good, I'm thinking about both of you through this. And she was like, I just want you both to be happy, which is like, obviously, yes.
And then she threw a little curveball and she was like, Lauren Workus said I'd be a great mother-in-law.
Yeah, I was like, Sharon, I know you were having trouble in this scene and this conversation, like, kind of was a lot for you, but don't bring up that someone else wanted to be your daughter-in-law, the Workuses. And what did Lindsay say? Who is that?
She's like, oh, God, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was, not the best thing to say at all. But I thought it was sweet that, like, Sharon had remembered that moment all throughout those years, a moment that I completely forgot.
Totally. So then I think we can kind of skip past the West and Sierra stuff this week because we already talked about it last week and there was no real new information.
No.
Except that I was glad that the girls didn't immediately get mad at him because they were kind of like, yeah, like, what is he supposed to do? Like, Paige was like, what other guy is going to go all summer without getting laid? Or like, I guess he doesn't need to shut off all of his options yet. Like they'll get into it more this week, but
yeah, it didn't explode in the house like I thought it would.
Right. But Lindsay also in that scene opens up about Carl's mom's concerns and stuff. And she does open up a little bit about the fact that she was rejected by her or like abandoned by her biological mother, which again, I think she should lead with more because obviously it colors all of her red flags are born from that. Yeah. Of course.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's horrible. Like, and Carl brings that up in this next conversation with Kyle and Amanda. And he's like, I always knew about that stuff, but until we were in therapy, I didn't realize how dark and like deep that shit is. Yeah. Which is real.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess I don't know like if Lindsay should talk about it more, but I do need to just like keep that in mind as Lindsay travels through the, summer house. Like I need to think about that actively because I do forget. And she doesn't talk about it often.
No, it used to come up more because remember she used to always call her Aunt Rhonda or whatever, but we haven't really thought of that in a while and it hasn't really come up in the wedding talks, which you would think it kind of would since we're talking about this family stuff more.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Amanda just like inserts herself in this conversation and Kyle's kind of like, are you okay with her just joining, I guess? Like she's just like, I'm here now.
Yeah, she just wanted to be a part of this. And I mean, a good call on her part to be a part of a very pivotal scene.
Right. So speaking of fourth wall breaks, there's like a major one. He reveals to them what Lou said, that he wouldn't marry them. And they're like, holy shit, like that's fucking crazy. Like, does she know that he said that? And he's like, no, I didn't want to bring it up. But he's like, obviously there's, an elephant in the room. And he points and the camera shows another camera person. And I was like, have they done that on Summer House before?
I think they showed it a little bit with Maya. They had a fourth wall break, and there was a little bit. Maybe during the COVID season they have showed the people before, but yeah, obviously it's always jarring. And this is the perfect kind of fourth wall break where it's just so unexpected. At a certain point, though, don't ever let fourth wall breaks become tropes. Yeah. Because then they will be saturated of all their, or drained of all their power. Yeah. So this is a good strategic fourth wall break. And the information you get from this fourth wall break is very valuable. Amanda says, yep. Just so you know, if that's on camera, you need to get ahead of that. Right. She goes, I had to do the same thing. I never would have told my parents about Kyle cheating, but I knew they were going to watch it on the show, so I had to tell them. And they show that hard to watch scene where she tells them that. And then Kyle asking her dad for her hand in marriage. And he literally like laughs in his face and is like, you fucking piece of shit. And like didn't give him his blessing, right? Right. So she's like, I get it. Like, that fucking sucks. So telling Carl, you absolutely need to get ahead of this thing because she's going to watch it. And that's the worst thing in the world. Yeah. So then Carl I'll just say for the rest of the episode, he's so nervous and flustered about getting to this situation before. I know. I mean, Kyle brought it up, I think in the after show, but imagine if they did get married and then they would have already been married for like 6 months or 7 months. 8 months at this point, and then she sees that. So wild. Yeah. But yeah, he said he's worried about the wedding budget, his career, their living situation, their family. He's like losing it. Yes, and all of his stress, like it fills up inside of him to where he is like red and almost on the verge of tears, almost a breakdown. And then factoring this new thing in where he has to navigate his relationship with Lindsay and tell her that his parents are scared for him to get married. It's just it's a new layer. And he's a mess the rest of the episode. Right. So like this whole time they've been late to dinner. They're like extremely late to dinner. Meanwhile at dinner, Sierra calls Jesse a trash bag, which I disagree. Yeah, I thought that was really mean. Yeah. And I was fully with Jesse on being taken aback. If anybody ever called me that, no matter what context you think it's appropriate in, I'd be pissed. Yeah. She sort of took it back on the after show. She said that like she disagrees. She says that he has trash bag tendencies. Yeah.
But then her and Paige said that they actually love him a lot, and they kind of went back on it. But,
It was just an overly harsh thing to say.
yeah. So then they all are late as fuck to dinner. They come back. Lindsay's like, you guys were gone for a long time. Was it lover boy stuff? And
Yeah, I that.
He's like, no. And we should probably talk.
She goes, well,
It's
now
like worst case scenario.
She was like, now I can't eat this dinner. I'm
I
going
know,
to
it
be
looked
worried.
bomb as hell. It was like lobster salad. Like, it was like a nice dinner. I'd be like, couldn't you like keep your shit together till after damn?
Yeah, and he goes, no. Let's get back on the living room couch right now.
Need to tell you what Lou and Sharon said. She goes, we already talked about it this week. And he's like, we should revisit. It was like an HR email of like, can you talk right now? You're like, no. And she's like, well, I'm going to be on fucking edge the rest of this fucking dinner. So let's just go talk about it now.
Right.
And he's like, good, let's go. And so he's just clearly terrified. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, not to put this on her because he handled it poorly for sure.
Oh, good.
But at no point was she like, are you okay? Like, what the hell is going on? She was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, you're inconveniencing me. Like, she wasn't like, you seem very rattled.
Yes.
Instead, she goes, you're very angry and upset right now.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm not angry.
And
And I'm just like, this is what you think angry looks like? He's on the verge of tears. He like can barely express what he's nervous about. And you're accusing him of being angry. No wonder he doesn't want to talk to you.
yeah. And I think angry is one of his triggers because he had a problem with rage when he was drinking. And so calling him angry, you just smeared him with the wrong emotion that he's having, and it fully puts him off balance.
Yeah. And like, for the most part, she kind of just wants us to be over, which I get because it's like,
But she wasn't, when he tells her finally what it was,
she doesn't really care.
I was really surprised by her reaction. It doesn't move the needle past like a 3 out of 10 for her.
She's like, oh, that's it?
Yeah, it was almost like you just said, this could have been an email.
Right.
Like, I was like, that's your reaction to hearing that your potential, what's that, father-in-law or whatever,
Yeah.
like, didn't want you guys to get married potentially because he was worried and he never would have married you at this point in your life. Like, I thought that it was such an underreaction. I was shocked.
Right. And she's like, she's like, this is why I don't tell my parents anything because she
Great.
said on the after show, she was like, my parents would never say anything bad about my future husband because it's my decision or whatever. I'm like, they didn't talk shit about you. They talked shit about your relationship and that you guys are dysfunctional as fuck. They weren't like, Lindsay's a bitch, so you need to get out of this. They were like, you guys
Yes.
have problems.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly that. And then he sort of, it ends with him sort of having that, are we at the end of the conversation?
Yeah. So she's a little bit like chill. Like she goes like, can you just try and communicate in better detail in the future? Cause like, which is true. Like he
Yes.
fucking should.
Absolutely.
And he's like, my parents love you. That is like, there's no question. I'm just really overwhelmed right now. Like, and he's like about to cry. Like he's like,
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
almost crying.
Yes.
He's like, I'm really overwhelmed with everything that's going on right now. And she goes, it's too much for me to have an emotion right now. And it's like,
Yeah.
And he has to eat shit and go
Yeah.
like, no, I'm just really overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it's so clear that like their communication pattern is like completely fucked.
Yeah.
Like he is timid and avoids conflict and is scared of her. When he tries to bring up anything that's bothering him, she accuses him of being angry and not letting her have an emotion.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's like completely dysfunctional. It's just like,
Yeah.
you guys cannot get married.
Right. And they also like they also misread each other, which is also a communication issue, but they also just like don't know each other's like temperament very well at all because she
Yeah.
calls him angry. He used the word spiral and he means it more
Right.
of not like the full weight of that word. And she goes, I didn't spiral. He goes, I'm just saying
He's
this
like,
is
I
a
was trying to
tough-
prevent you from spiraling.
Yeah, this is a tough convo for me and it's hard for me and I get nervous. And she goes, why is this conversation tough? It's like, is that the question now? Right?
Why is this conversation tough for me to tell you that my parents told me that we should not get married?
Right.
Why is that tough for me to tell you that?
Right. And then
Are you insane?
yeah, and then it's the end. It's like what you said. It's like it's all on him now. He's about to cry. He says, I'm just feeling overwhelmed. by it all. And then they just kind of leave it on Carl's crying red, almost
I
crying
promise you
red
next
face.
week it's going to be her being like, let's go to Montauk. Shots, shots, shots. Like she's going to be like completely unaffected.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very strong case for that. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen. There's more. There's more coming. We've already seen scenes.
I know.
Where Carl and Lindsay are fighting their asses off.
Yeah, next week is going to be gnarly. It's like one of the big ones. Like, it's like her being like, I'm trying to be a good girlfriend or whatever she says. And like Andy said on Watch What Happens that between the last one and everything moving forward, he said that they just shred each other, tear each other apart for the next 5 episodes.
Oh my god! Wow, so it's going to be like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf in there?
I
They're
love
gonna be
that.
Good.
Give me my, what is that, Tennessee Williams?
Give me my Edward Albee.
I was thinking of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Tennessee Williams. Yep.
Yeah.
A long day. It's going to be like a long day's journey into night. Eugene O'Neill.
Let's just keep going. Hot Potato Playwright Edition. No, I'm done. But yeah, so next week there's like a handful of big things. West confronted again about his dating life. Carl and Lindsay, major issues. Kyle and Amanda, lover boy conversation, and Kyle losing it and throwing a can.
What the hell is Kyle gonna throw a can about? When Amanda says, I have to leave Loverboy now, he's gonna go, what does he scream when he says it? He goes, you think that I like working for fun? I can't wait for Kyle to throw that can. I'll be so excited. He throws it.
I really think that like the next month of episodes is going to be like thrilling. Like it's all been leading to this.
Yeah, it's great. Summer House is great. After what we just talked about in Vanderpump Rules, I know we didn't give this its
they have
due.
not lost the plot.
No,
at
Summer House is still so good. And I'm sorry we gave it short shrift. This was the Vanderpump Rules finale. We had to go all out for that.
Yeah.
I hope this was a good episode. I swear I never remember anything we ever said, and this night especially, the things we said, I'll have no memory of. I hope this was a good episode. This is one of those episodes where I'll need words of affirmation. But other than that, I mean, we're done, right? We can
we are not going to talk about New Jersey Housewives. I know that it began again. I did watch it. The men are still red. The women are still very tan, and Teresa and Melissa still hate each other.
Wow.
It's kind of just, where we left off. We can talk about it next time.
Yeah, I love New Jersey, and I'm ready for the New Jersey era to enter my life. I absolutely love the the later episodes of Jersey last season, so I'm very excited that everybody's back. So we'll get that into the rotation once Vanderpump is out of here, and we'll be more. We'll be better about including the Valley, but we just got to go with what's hot at the moment, and that's what it was. So, do you want to say that the end of the episode stuff?
Like that we need your money.
Oh yeah. If you liked any moment from this, I'm sure there's stuff that you absolutely hated, but if you liked anything in here, like any moments from this 3 hours, why don't you please do Amy and I the biggest favor of your life and our lives and give us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Chartable or anywhere you can write a review. Maybe even tweet about it and just say, I really like this Turtle Time podcast. It's really weird. And they film it in this one guy's living room and there's a dog that's always running around. But I do kind of like this podcast. Tell people about it.
Yes. Ask, believe, receive.
If you absolutely hated this, obviously the opposite advice would be given to you. Don't say anything. Don't tell anybody. Keep it completely quiet, like Carl keeping the secret about what Lou said to Lindsay.
Say it, forget it, write it, regret it.
Yeah, apply the Dorinda method. And then finally, this is really, writing a review is great.
But if you really want to bro us out, join the Patreon, which we brought it up multiple times tonight because it's truly so relevant in my opinion of everything that's happening right now, both on Vanderpump and the Valley, because go back in time. Don't forget, James spit at a woman.
Yes.
Ariana lied about being the other woman.
Yes.
Sheena is the same.
Sheena has been consistently herself the entire run of Vanderpump Rules, and we love her for it.
And it's just really fun to watch them in tandem and see what has changed, what you've forgotten, and like the lore and the history of, it's it's a rich tapestry.
It really is. It's like extended editions of the main feed episode. We talk about all the same shit. We continue the same running jokes, if you want to call them that. And I think it's a fun environment, and I love our Villa Rosa VIPs. Every time they comment, even though Amy and I are so... we have so little time to do anything but what we actively do. We love every single comment.
Yeah, I would say it's a great replacement for Facebook.
Yeah.
Because Facebook is dead. Twitter's pretty dead. So it's like a fun page where people are just commenting about the specific things that we're talking about, that specific episode of the time. It's both the current, like, feed episode you're listening to now gets posted in there too, so you get to comment there, and it's like the threads are really fun on there.
Yeah, and it's not in any way toxic or weird.
It's really not.
It's like nice and wholesome and sweet.
I get scared to read our TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube comments, but I'm never afraid to read our Patreon comments.
We've created, or we haven't even created, the Villa Rosa VIPs have created a beautiful community where everyone is nice and we only say wonderful things to each other for the most part. So let's sign off now, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, I will apologize at the end of the episode. I took that full Red Bull to the head, and but I feel like
now you can rest.
Yeah, but did I apologize to you because you carried the final 30 minutes of this episode. I'm proud of you.
West's charisma and the demise of the Hub House, Rad House relationship got me through.
Wonderful. Well, good. Well, let's say goodbye to our little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs. Go to sleep tonight knowing that, you know, Amy and I just got done with an episode.
Bye.